The blue sky was as clear as water, and a cool breeze blew across his face. Yan Lan Dukedom, Green Magic Academy. Students dressed in mage robes walked together and talked loudly. On their faces hung the pride of being a mage. A man with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes stood alone, looking out of place. He was dressed in a monotonous white robe, which was completely different from a gorgeous mage robe. Obviously, he was not a mage yet. His appearance attracted a wave of ridicule. "Look, it's Lin Ming again. It's been 3 years and he's still only a dabbler, a tier 1 mage. If his grandfather wasn't a tier 4 mage, I'm afraid he won't even be able to enter the Green Magic Academy." Humph, his grandfather is about to die. After his death, his noble identity will be taken back. Even the manor and castle will be taken back as well. It won't be long before Lin Ming becomes a pauper. Who knows, Lin Ming might become a tier 4 mage and be able to maintain his status as a noble family. Then I'd rather believe that a pie will fall from the sky. Hearing their sarcastic words, Lin Ming sneered. He had transmigrated here for 3 years, and used his family status to become a student of the Green Magic Academy. He had thought that his future was bright. But the reality was completely different. Lin Ming's affinity with the elements, and his ability to construct magic could be said to be a mess. The affinity with the elements was the ability of a mage to accumulate magic power, and the ability to construct magic was the ability to control magic skills. The two complemented each other, and for a mage, one could not be missing. In 3 years, Lin Ming, who was of the fire attribute, could only condense a small flame that could light a cigarette. But he did not give up. He trained hard every day, being ridiculed by others in the training ground. He trained alone in the back mountain of the academy. "Brother Lin Ming, going for training again? Go, go, go. I believe you will definitely succeed." "Brother Lin Ming, don't take it to heart what those people say. They are just envious of your good looks." The moment they walked out of the academy, several beautiful women greeted Lin Ming one after another. He was not only the #1 trash in the academy, he was also publicly acknowledged as the most handsome man in the academy. Indeed, his handsomeness was unparalleled. However, Lin Ming clearly knew that in this world, the strong preyed on the weak. A good-looking skin could not allow him to live his life in peace. The strong were the truth of the world. Lin Ming smiled at the few female students with admiring eyes, and rushed to the back of the mountain. Back mountain of the academy. The dense shade covered the sun, very few people came here. Lin Ming stood on the cliff and stared at the lake below. He closed his eyes slightly and sensed the energy around him. At this moment, he could clearly sense that there were many shining red light spots around him. Those were fire elementals. Fireball spell. Lin Ming shouted in a deep voice. A mysterious energy was mobilizing the fire elementals around him. Puff. With a muffled sound, Lin Ming secretly glanced at his right palm. He saw a cluster of weak flames flickering. He clenched his right hand tightly. The flames disappeared and a piercing pain came from his palm. However, Lin Ming only frowned slightly. "Today is the 3rd year of my transmigration. Is this the end of my life?" Lin Ming squeezed out these words from the corner of his mouth. The current him could not even master a tier 1 spell. Unreconciled, very unreconciled. Ding, the 3-year deadline has passed. Supreme skill system is beginning to load. Ding, unknown reason, system has a bug. Bug repair completed, remaining skill points, max. In his mind, the mechanical voice sounded. System? Lin Ming was overjoyed. As an old bookworm in his previous life, he had a good understanding of the system. Soon after, a skill panel appeared in his mind. There was only one skill, fireball spell, but with a plus sign behind it. It was very eye-catching. Lin Ming did not hesitate and clicked the plus sign in his mind. Ding, your fireball spell mastery has increased. Current level is beginner, level 1. Beginner? Lin Ming was overjoyed. Fireball spell was a tier 1 magic and he could train it to beginner, level 1. That meant that he was no longer a half-baked tier 1 mage. Then, Lin Ming's eyes lit up and he did not enter a meditative state like before. He only thought about it on purpose. A scorching fireball appeared in his palm. He threw it with all his might, and the fireball accurately shot towards the lake water below. Splash! A wave was created on the surface of the water. At this moment, Lin Ming finally understood the benefits of the system. As long as he leveled up his skill, he would be able to grasp it perfectly. Moreover, due to the system bug, his skill points were unlimited. Surprise, an incomparable surprise. In the past 3 years, this was the first time Lin Ming was so happy. In a flash, ding, your fireball spell mastery has increased. Current level is master, level 3. Lin Ming condensed another fireball that was the size of a basketball. It was even emitting traces of blue flames as it appeared. Moreover, he found that only the process of generating the fireball consumed mana. Maintaining the fireball didn't consume mana at all. Oh my god, it's so simple. So, as long as I level up, I can become stronger? Lin Ming couldn't help but exclaim. A smile appeared on his face, and he focused his attention on the skill panel again. Ding, your fireball spell mastery has been increased. Current level is major accomplishment, level 5. Quote, ding, your fireball spell mastery has increased. Your current level is major accomplishment, level 6. System notification. Do not overindulge. Can this be called overindulgence after holding it in for 3 years? Ding, your fireball spell mastery has increased. Your current level is complete, level 7. Ding, your fireball spell mastery has increased. Your current level is sublimated, level 9. Congratulations on your self-learning and comprehension of the law of fire explosion. Your fireball spell mastery has reached the law, level 10, and has been transformed into a forbidden spell Dark Yang Explosion. After a series of joyful operations, he saw that the plus sign had stopped moving. Lin Ming then stopped in satisfaction. Law of fire explosion, Dark Yang Explosion? Let me see how strong it is. Lin Ming's eyes were filled with ecstasy. The others needed tens of thousands of practice to cultivate their spells from beginner to great success. But he had comprehended the law in such a short time? Lin Ming mobilized all the magic power in his body and started to condense Dark Yang Explosion. In an instant, he felt his whole body suddenly become weak, and all the magic power in his body was drained. He couldn't help but start to stagger. And in his palm, a black gem like in the size of an egg energy ball appeared. It was pitch black and kept spinning. It contained an extremely terrifying energy. This is the black flame. Even though Lin Ming was extremely weak, when he saw the black flame in his hand, his eyes could not help but flash with excitement. The next moment, Lin Ming's body went limp, and the energy ball in his hand fell to the lake water below. Phew, it's been 3 years. 3 years. Lin Ming lay weakly on the ground, his eyes shining with a fiery light. He also understood what it meant to overindulge. Boom, a loud sound was heard, and the birds flew away in shock. The entire cliff shook non-stop, and even the lake water below surged to the top of the cliff. In an instant, it sublimated. The lake water below also disappeared. The entire lake bed cracked like it had been dry for 100 years. In the center, there was a huge hole. It was as if it was formed by falling meteorites. When he got up and saw this scene, Lin Ming dragged his weak body and was extremely excited. His eyes were bright and spirited. It was as if 3 years of humiliation had been washed away at this moment. Back mountain. At this moment, Lin Ming had already left. By the dried-up lake, there were several people dressed in mage robes. They frowned as they stared at the scene in front of them. They were extremely shocked. At this moment, a purple-robed man descended from the sky. He was the dean of the Green Magic Academy, Douglas Duru. He was a tier 7 mage. In the entire Yanlan dukedom, there were no more than 10 people who could surpass him. Seeing Duru's arrival, everyone stood respectfully to welcome him. They were all senior teachers of this academy. Among them were 2 elders of the academy. Andrew, what's going on? Duru ignored the crowd and walked straight to the white-bearded old man in front of him. In the entire academy, he was probably the only one who could directly call Andrew by his name. Andrew was the academy's first elder. He frowned, stroked his white beard and said in shock, "We can conclude that it was an explosion caused by magic." As soon as these words were said, the other teachers were all surprised. How is this possible? Even if it was an explosion, it wouldn't be enough to evaporate all the water in the lake, right? Indeed, even a tier 9 spell wouldn't have such an effect. Hearing that, Dean Duru's brows were tightly furrowed. His face was also filled with puzzlement. From the vibration of the explosion just now, he could tell that it was at most a tier 7 spell. But to be able to evaporate such a huge amount of water in an instant, even a tier 9 spell wouldn't be able to do it. Unless, thinking of this, Duru hurriedly shook his head. "Dean, my guess is that it was caused by the fire magic. Just so it's your house magic. You can sense it," Andrew said in a hollow voice. He also understood everyone's doubts. He had been investigating for half a day just now. He had already ruled out that it was caused by a meteorite. Now, only magic could explain it. Duru held his breath and concentrated, sensing the changes in the energy around him. The next second, his face turned pale, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Black flame, how could it be the black flame? Duru's body trembled, and he staggered a few steps. He pointed at the hole in the lake bed in disbelief. Just now, he sensed a large amount of fire element in the hole. But it wasn't a red-hot fire element. It was black. What? Black flame? A Sage Realm mage? How? How is this possible? Everyone present couldn't help but shudder. In this world, only a fire Sage Realm mage is able to congeal a black flame. Sage Realm magi were the most powerful experts in the entire world. Even in the entire Yan Lan dukedom, there was only one water Sage Realm mage. Because of his existence, the Yan Lan dukedom hadn't been invaded by any foreign enemies for 100 years. One could imagine, the sudden appearance of a fire Sage Realm mage was a huge shock to them. Definitely not a Sage Realm mage. Everyone, don't make wild guesses. Seal off the entire back mountain. Don't allow anyone to enter without my permission. Duru's face was cold as he looked around. He wasn't sure if it was a Sage Realm mage, but he was very sure that someone who could instantly sublimate. The lake was definitely an extremely terrifying existence. As a Tier 7 mage, Duru felt a hint of danger. I have to report this matter to the higher-ups as soon as possible. Duru was secretly shocked and hurriedly rushed out of the school. Then, the back mountain of Green Magic Academy became a restricted area, guarded by several high-ranked mages. The next day night, Lin Ming sat in the library, flipping through the information on fire magic. Due to the Dark Yang explosion, all his magic power had been drained, and he had just woken up earlier. The first thing he did when he woke up was to learn magic. That's right, after all, the mage assessment was coming soon. He couldn't use the destructive Dark Yang explosion during the assessment. At that time, the entire Green Magic Academy would be razed to the ground. The most important thing was that the Dark Yang explosion consumed a lot of magic power. Once he used it, Lin Ming felt that the magic power in his body was drained. Who knows, it might blow him up again. His thoughts floated for a moment, and Lin Ming focused his attention on the magic skill in front of him. Fire Snake Spell? Tier 2 spell? Gathering the energy of heaven and earth. Condensing the shape of all things. Shaped like a snake, moving like a rabbit, accurate like an eagle. Lin Ming muttered the main points of the spell above. Unintentionally, the name of the fire snake spell appeared on the skill panel in his mind. Behind it, there was naturally a plus sign. 2 levels, I'll level it up to 2 levels. With the lesson from last time, Lin Ming did not act rashly. After all, the magic power in his body was limited, and he couldn't waste it. Otherwise, his body wouldn't be able to handle it. Ding, your fire snake spell mastery has increased. Current level is beginner, level 2. A mechanical notification sounded in his mind. At this time, Lin Ming had already arrived at a quiet place in the school. What should I try on? Lin Ming was a little eager to know the power of the fire snake spell. At this moment, an eagle's cry came from the night sky. The students who were strolling in the academy couldn't help but look up. They saw that in the night sky, a silver light flashed, and it was extremely fast as it hovered in the sky. Look, it's a silver-feathered magical eagle, a Tier 2 magical beast. Oh my god, that's right. I didn't expect to be so lucky to be able to see it at night. Alright, be prepared. The silver-feathered magical eagle must be hunting at night. It might attack us. Even a Tier 2 mage would find it hard to deal with it. Everyone, be careful. Look, who's using the fire snake spell? At this moment, all the students looked towards the night sky. Even the young couple who were exchanging passion could not help but look over. In the sky, a snake-like flame was chasing after a giant silver eagle. The silver-feathered magical eagle quickly flapped its wings and kept changing directions. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The sound of air being torn apart could be heard continuously. In an instant, the snake-like flame had trapped the silver-feathered magical eagle. Screech. The silver-feathered magical eagle let out an angry cry, and its sharp silver claws tore towards the flame. However, it only lasted for a moment. It turned into a wisp of green smoke and disappeared into the flames. The fire snake spell can kill a Tier 2 magical beast so easily? As a fire mage, I can feel that the fire snake spell is extraordinary. To be able to comprehend the fire snake spell to such a level. Could it be that he is a high-level mage? How is that possible? The teachers are all at the back of the mountain. Then it must be the few prodigies in school. Looking up at the disappearing fire snake spell. That disappeared into the school grounds. Several students were extremely shocked. There were even some whose eyes were filled with envy. They were also looking forward to having such strength. But the instigator of all this was not the so-called prodigies. It was Lin Ming, who everyone had always looked down on. No, my magic power hasn't recovered yet. I have to think of a way to increase my magic power tomorrow. Lin Ming took back the fire snake spell and panted heavily. Dark Young Explosion had already exhausted his magic power. After sleeping for a day and a night, he didn't recover much. Then he walked towards the school dormitory. He had already planned where he would go tomorrow. It was a place full of violence and blood. The underground world of the Yan Lan dukedom. This place nurtured all kinds of black industries. From small to all kinds of contraband. To something as large as human trafficking. The illegal and unruly things that you could only think of were constantly happening here. And the most notorious thing here was the underground fighting arena. It was filled with fanatical gamblers. And fighters who didn't care about their lives but money. The arena was divided into 3 levels. The strength of the participants on each level became more and more terrifying. At the highest level, there were all kinds of professionals such as knights, swordsmen, warriors and so on. If one won the match at the lowest level, they would be able to obtain a reward of 20 gold coins. On the second level, the reward would be as high as 100 gold coins, and at the highest level, the reward would not be capped. In the low-level arena, thousands of gamblers were watching the bloody battle in the arena. Heart-wrenching screams, cold and merciless cheers filled the entire arena. However, there was one person who did not seem to fit in. He stared at the battle in the arena and was extremely calm. 20 gold coins is the annual income of an ordinary family. No wonder they are so hardworking. Lin Ming looked at the blood-splattering battle and muttered. At this moment, he was wearing a black mask. The reason he came here was for money. Mages had 2 ways to recover their magic power. One was to meditate and slowly recover the magic power in their body. And the other was to take a magic power recovery potion. After taking it, the magic power could be recovered in a short time. Although Lin Ming was not poor, but the magic power recovery potion was still expensive to him. After meditating and recovering his magic power last night, he made the decision to come to the fighting arena. He originally wanted to directly register for the middle-level fighting arena. However, the fighting arena had a rule that if he wanted to enter the next level, he had to win 10 matches in a row in the previous level. While his thoughts were floating, a loud and serious voice interrupted Lin Ming. A fierce-looking referee announced loudly, "Next, it's the battle between contestant number 101 and contestant number 88 who is known as the berserker. Please welcome the 2 fighters." Before he finished his sentence, the entire arena was in an uproar. It was the sound of the gamblers' revelry. In the midst of the uproar, Lin Ming walked straight to the arena. He was contestant number 101. On the opposite side, a 2-meter-tall muscular man walked over with a huge axe in his hand. His bare arms and entire body were covered in terrifying knife scars. What was even more terrifying was that the huge axe was emitting a foul stench. That was the smell of human blood. As compared, Lin Ming was obviously very weak. He wore a white robe and a black mask. With his hands behind his back, he was extremely calm. Contestant number 88, known as the Bloodthirsty Maniac, has won 9 consecutive matches. If he can win 1 more match, he will be able to enter the intermediate fighting arena. And, contestant number 101, he is a fighter who is participating for the first time. Everyone, please place your bets. The referee announced loudly. When he looked at Lin Ming, he shook his head in disdain. The difference in physique is a little big. The audience was very excited. Are you kidding me? Look at contestant number 101, thin arms and legs. How can he fight a berserker? That's right, I can fight him too. Referee, the difference in strength is so big. What is there for us to bet on? There's no meaning to it. The audience complained unhappily. However, the rules of the fighting arena were not something that gamblers like them could change. The fierce-looking referee was expressionless. It was obvious that he was used to this kind of thing. There were people like contestant number 101 almost every day. They wanted to try their luck here. After all, they could get dozens of gold coins if they won a match. For ordinary people, it is enough money to spend for a few years. Please start placing your bets, the referee said in a deep voice. Soon, everyone placed their bets. One could imagine the situation. Many people did not want to participate in it. After all, the difference in strength between the two sides was too big. So they could not get much profit. In the end, it was the fighting arena that stimulated the anger of the crowd. By placing 50 gold coins as the base for both sides, only then did the desire of the gamblers be aroused. If a gambler placed a bet on both sides at the same time, the arena would collect a large amount of gambling money. In any case, the arena was the regulator of the match, and they would never lose money. The bet ended. The odds reached an astonishing 110. Lin Ming also took out his only 10 gold coins and placed a bet on himself. As long as he won, he would be able to get 100 gold coins. Let the match begin, the referee shouted angrily. He gave Lin Ming a disdainful look and left the arena. The audience and gamblers already knew the outcome of the match. However, they were already very fanatical. Berserker, hurry up and smash him into meat paste. What bullshit, newbie, let him know the fanaticism of the arena. Kill him, and I'll give you an extra 1,000 silver coins. Do you want to bet in how many seconds? Will contestant number 101 turn into meat paste? Ha ha ha, that's a good suggestion. Lin Ming looked around and was very calm. After enduring for 3 years, he was very calm and had long scoffed at the ridicule of others. On the other hand, contestant number 88, who was known as a berserker, was extremely excited. A ferocious smile appeared on his face. Brat, you've had 8 lifetimes of bad luck since you met me, the berserker said with a sinister smile. A moment later, the veins on the berserker's forehead suddenly bulged, and his entire body emitted a suffocating smell of blood. Sandstorm slash, accompanied by an angry roar, the berserker waved the huge axe in his hand. It swept up the sand and rocks on the field. For a moment, the field was shrouded in a cloud of dust. This was the ultimate skill of the berserker. Although the berserker felt that contestant number 101 was very weak, after experiencing several life and death battles, he would not underestimate any opponent. Seeing this scene, the crowd was a little puzzled and couldn't help but ridicule. Is this berserker stupid? He could kill his opponent with one punch. Yet he had to use his famous ultimate skill? What do you know? The reason why a berserker can win 9 matches in a row is precisely because he is very vigilant. Forget it, forget it. The outcome is the same anyway. It's better to stay far away. Otherwise, when contestant number 101 turns into meat paste and splash onto my body, that would be bad luck. Those standing in front could not help but take a few steps back. There were even quite a number of people who had personally experienced the feeling of bone marrow splashing onto their faces. The dust on the field that was stirred up by the berserker became thicker and thicker. The purpose was to confuse the enemy's line of sight. Boom! In the dust, a deafening sound was heard. However, no flesh and blood flew out. There was only a faint light that flashed for a moment. Many people did not even notice it. The audience and gamblers looked with eager eyes. They were very confused. Why were there no flesh and blood flying out just now? Could it be that contestant number 101 was too thin? He could not even splash out? The dust slowly fell. The next moment, everyone in the stadium was in disbelief. They saw that the berserker had fallen. 2 meters away from contestant number 101, blood was gushing out of his neck. And contestant number 101 didn't seem to have moved at all. He was still standing where he was. The referee rushed to the ring with a shocked expression. After confirming the berserker's death, he frowned and announced hesitantly, "The winner goes to contestant number 101. Before he could finish his sentence, the entire stadium was in an uproar. Are you kidding me? How can the berserker lose? There's definitely something fishy going on here. How can a single and weak contestant number 101 defeat the strong berserker? I bet 10 gold coins on the berserker. It's really a gamble. I just won 20 gold coins." Even after the staff members finished dealing with the berserker's corpse, the stadium was still in an uproar. They were angry that they had lost their money. Not that they felt sorry for the berserker. In this world, life was just a gamble. Of course, some people were happy while others were worried. The gamblers who bet on Lin Ming had a smile on their face. Lin Ming, who had come to the side of the stadium to rest, was very calm. After transmigrating to this world where the strong preyed on the weak, he had long been prepared to kill. Although the berserker had won 9 matches in a row in the low-level arena, he could only be considered as the strongest among ordinary people. His strength was not even that of a warrior apprentice. As a mage, Lin Ming could naturally kill him with a snap of his fingers. Just now, he had controlled the fire snake spell to a minimum. Like a bullet, it pierced through the throat of the berserker. Contestant number 101, do you want to continue? After a short rest, the referee asked in a deep voice. There was no disdain in his eyes from before, and there was even a hint of respect. Lin Ming nodded in response. He had just received a reward of 20 gold coins, as well as the 100 gold coins he had won from betting on himself. The magic consumption of the previous attack was not very high. Lin Ming did not intend to give up just like that. Then, the referee walked to the ring again. He shouted excitedly, "The next match is about to begin. The contestant is number 101, who has just won." I won't introduce him anymore. I think everyone watched him better than I did. As for the other contestant, everyone is extremely familiar with him. Everyone, please look over there. The referee was extremely excited as he pointed at the spot where the contestant had appeared. A man dressed in a black robe with a long scar on his face appeared. He was holding a silver-white cross sword in his hand. Seeing that familiar yet terrifying face, many people could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. They were extremely shocked. There were even dozens of people who shouted excitedly, "Oh my God, it's the Silver Sword. He's a 1-star swordsman. He won 10 consecutive matches in the intermediate fighting arena last year. In the end, he disappeared without a trace. Then why is he here?" The rules of the fighting arena. If you don't participate in fighting for a long time, your battle results will be eliminated. You can only start from the lowest level. Oh my God, I'm so lucky. For a moment, the entire arena was in an uproar. They had never thought that they would actually be able to meet such a strong person in the low-level combat arena. Even before the bet had begun, some people had already bet all of their assets on the Silver Sword. In their opinion, this match was without suspense. One had to know, in this world, anyone who could become a swordsman, warrior, assassin and other professionals, even if they had just stepped into the threshold of a profession, they would be able to create a huge gap with ordinary people. A 1-star swordsman could casually swing his sword and cut a 100-year-old giant tree. Ordinary people could not resist at all. As for mages, they were even more terrifying. If a swordsman appeared out of 1,000 people, then only one mage would appear out of 10,000 people. Moreover, mages of the same realm as compared to other professionals, whether in terms of strength or status, were much higher. Everyone, please start placing your bets. After Lin Ming and Silver Sword entered the arena, the referee shouted. Of course, in this match, which seemed to have a large difference in strength, the arena would still take out their own bets to stir up the stadium's emotions. In any case, this method would only make them more profitable. Very soon, the clamor in the arena was once again boiling. Everyone was discussing how to place their bets. Damn, if I don't bet on the Silver Sword at such a good opportunity, I'm afraid I'll be an idiot, right? What do you know about wealth and risk? I'll bet 1,000 silver coins on number 101. Damn you, you're pitying number 101. I'll bet 10 gold coins. However, the end result this time was not as ridiculous as the last time. After all, the strength displayed by the masked contestant number 101 had surprised them. However, the odds were still 1 to 5. As before, Lin Ming took out the 120 gold coins he had won and placed all his bets. As long as he won, he would be able to obtain 620 gold coins. This was a considerable amount of wealth for Lin Ming. Amidst the noisy din, the Silver Sword sneered at Lin Ming and said, "If you admit defeat now, I can spare your life." It seemed like he was showing mercy to the weak, but in fact, he disdained to attack the contestants in the low-level fighting arena. Moreover, in Silver Sword's view, the blood of the weak was just an insult to the cross-shaped sword in his hand. Lin Ming did not respond, still standing in place indifferently. The match begins. The referee then bowed to Silver Sword and shouted coldly. His action was not excessive. As long as one could become a professional, one could gain the respect of the world. Now you have no chance to regret. The sound of an iron weapon rubbing was heard coldly. Silver Sword raised his cross-shaped longsword and pointed it at Lin Ming, who was 100 steps away. At this moment, the entire stadium became extremely silent. The gamblers stared at Silver Sword with fervent eyes. They didn't want to miss out on a magnificent massacre. After all, it was rare to see a one-star swordsman in a low-level arena. The person who should regret should be you, Lin Ming said indifferently, his eyes under the mask staring at Silver Sword. After all, this was his first time facing a one-star swordsman. Lin Ming, who lacked actual combat experience, didn't dare to be careless. Hearing this, Silver Sword's originally frivolous gaze became extremely cold, emitting an icy cold killing intent. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly, and the muscles of his arm that was holding his silver sword suddenly bulged. The gamblers became excited when they saw this scene. Previously, they were worried that Lin Ming would admit defeat. If that happened, they wouldn't be able to see Silver Sword make his move. Someone couldn't help but click his tongue. Contestant number 101 is a complete hothead. Could it be that he doesn't know Silver Sword? Who cares? Anyway, I'm quite grateful that contestant number 101 didn't admit defeat, otherwise, Silver Sword wouldn't have made his move. It's his honor to die at the hands of a one-star swordsman. In the ring, a cold light flashed. The cold sword energy was unleashed wantonly. That was the sword energy that belonged exclusively to swordsmen. Seeing that the masked man in the distance did not move at all, Silver Sword wasn't able to hold back his temper. He wanted to finish 10 matches as soon as possible and enter the intermediate fighting arena. Naturally, he did not want to waste too much time. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Silver Sword's footsteps were very rapid, but they were very methodical. Looking at Silver Sword who was attacking him, Lin Ming stared at his footsteps. Why aren't you dodging? You're simply courting death. Silver Sword laughed maniacally, and the cross-shaped sword in his hand suddenly stabbed out. Strike. In an instant, Silver Sword's entire body was like a sword as he stabbed towards Lin Ming. This strike, it looked ordinary, but Silver Sword had practiced it tens of thousands of times. As the saying goes, those who weren't afraid of practicing 10,000 moves were afraid of those who practiced one move for 10,000 times. It was precisely because of this. Silver Sword relied on this move and was practically invincible among swordsmen of the same realm. There was even a tier 2 magical beast that died in this move. Seeing this scene, everyone present held their breath and concentrated, unable to bear to blink. The referee, who was closest to the arena, could not help but tremble. He had seen this move before. As long as this move was made, he would be able to subdue the opponent in one move. Moreover, it would directly pierce through one's heart. There was no way for one to survive at all. What was even more terrifying was that the blade of the sword would not be stained with any blood. Previously, Silver Sword had relied on this move to win 10 consecutive matches in the low-level fighting arena in just an hour. One had to know that most of this hour was betting. Therefore, Silver Sword used less than half an hour to win 10 consecutive matches. Swoosh! Silver Sword quickly approached Lin Ming. When he was only 2 meters away, his eyes suddenly trembled, seeing that a red flame had appeared in the masked man's hand, and it was condensing at an extremely fast speed. It was like a snake in the blink of an eye. Mage, how is this possible? Silver Sword shouted in panic. His originally sword-like figure had changed. It was obvious that his will had been shaken. The audience was even more shocked. They could not help but stand up abruptly. That flame is magic. It must be magic. My God, it can't be. He's actually a mage? What kind of joke is this? Just now, I even bet on all of my assets. The referee who was closest to him was so shocked that he could not speak. He had been hosting the fighting arena for decades. Swordsmen, warriors, assassins. He had even met knights before, but this was the first time he had seen a mage. What was even more terrifying was that he did not realize that the masked man was a mage in the first match. Just as everyone was in shock, the flame condensed into the shape of a snake. The Silver Sword, whose battle intent was initially shaken, suddenly felt a jolt in the heart. Fire snake spell? Tier 2 spell? He was dumbstruck, so shocked that he could not speak. The sword, which had originally been thrusted out, suddenly changed its direction and fiercely stabbed into the ground. It left several meters of crevices on the ground. This was the only time he had changed the sharpness of his move that he had practiced tens of thousands of times. At this moment, A hint of reverence appeared in Silver Sword's trembling eyes. The corners of his mouth twitched slightly. After getting up, he put down the sword in his hand. Ding! The silver cross-shaped sword fell to the ground. The crisp sound woke up the stunned audience. They looked at the ring in disbelief. Then, a sound came from the ring, completely dumbfounding the audience. They saw Silver Sword put his right hand on his chest and bent down. I admit defeat in this match. When he saw the fire snake appear, he had already given up. After all, from what he knew, only mages whose strength had reached tier 2 could cast the fire snake spell, and he was only a 1-star swordsman. Silver Sword was very clear about the difference between them. Lin Ming did not say much and nodded slightly, withdrawing the fire snake. Then, he watched as the Silver Sword left. However, the gamblers were in an uproar. What kind of joke is this? He admitted defeat just like that. I even went all in. Mage, is this the terrifying aspect of a mage? A 1-star swordsman can only admit defeat? It's not easy to encounter such a battle in a low-level arena. Is it over just like that? The referee at the side came back to his senses. He hurriedly ran to the upper level of the fighting arena, where the manager was located. Respected mage, this is your prize, as well as the money you won from the bet. A total of 620 gold coins. I have already deposited all of them into the magic crystal card for you. Of course, this magic crystal card is given to you by the fighting arena for free. A moment later, the referee held a purple crystal-like card in both hands. There were special runes on it, emitting a faint purple light. Lin Ming took it and thanked him. The magic crystal card itself was worth dozens of gold coins. It was something that many ordinary people couldn't have in their entire lifetime. He was not surprised by this. Even a 1-star swordsman could receive different treatment. Not to mention a mage. The next match would only begin 10 minutes later. Lin Ming left the arena. After 2 matches, the magic power in his body had been greatly consumed. He had to buy some magic power recovery potions. He went to the black market nearby. There were all kinds of strange items sold here. Weapons, spiritual herbs, and even low-level magical beasts. Lin Ming didn't stay long. It was hard to tell whether the items in the black market were real or fake. The tier 1 magical beast that was priced at 100 gold coins actually didn't even have a tier. After a while, Lin Ming found a place that was selling magic power recovery potions. A bottle of ordinary magic power recovery potion was only 100 silver coins, while a bottle with better effects was sold for 1 gold coin. For the current Lin Ming, it wasn't very expensive. Of course, for an ordinary family, it was still very expensive. After all, nurturing a mage was very costly. Just the tuition fees of the Magic Academy alone could reach a terrifying 100 gold coins a year. The tuition fees of the other academies were relatively low. Lin Ming simply bought several bottles at once. After taking a bottle of magic power recovery potion, Lin Ming, who was originally a little weak, suddenly felt a powerful force appear. In a flash, his magic power was restored to its original state. He put the rest into the storage bag. It should be about time. Let's go there as soon as possible. Lin Ming muttered and rushed to the low-level fighting arena. The low-level fighting arena was not very large, but the number of people had doubled at this time. It could even be described as rubbing shoulders. The originally empty VIP box was full of people. Most of the people came from the intermediate fighting arena. On one hand, it was for the mage who suddenly appeared. On the other hand, they were here for another terrifying contestant. The referee on the field became extremely excited. After hosting the low-level fighting arena for so many years, this was the first time he had seen so many people. More importantly, there were several management staff members of the fighting arena in the VIP box. As a mage, Lin Ming had also attracted their attention. Because of this, they had specially set up this match. It allowed the 2 experts to meet. The next battle will be very exciting. Next up is the so-called domineering blade, Dylan Harry. Although he has only won 3 consecutive battles, he hasn't even made a move until now. Just that aura alone is enough to make people tremble in fear. And the other one is Mage number 101, who won 2 battles in a crushing manner. The referee shouted loudly. For a moment, the entire arena was in an uproar. Many people from the intermediate fighting arena had come to watch the battle between Dylan Harry and Lin Ming. Because Dylan Harry was a tier 2 warrior, if it weren't for the rules of the fighting arena, only those who won 10 battles in a row from the low-level fighting arena could enter the intermediate fighting arena. A tier 2 warrior could completely slaughter everyone in the intermediate fighting arena. He could even enter the highest level fighting arena without any power. He had not made any moves during his previous appearances. When his opponents heard his name, they immediately forfeited. And it was even harder to meet a mage in the fighting arena. Many people could not help but guess. Who do you think will win this battle? Number 101 may be a mage, but I feel that he is at most a tier 1 mage. Moreover, the strength of a mage will be greatly reduced after battles. Who knows, he might even admit defeat when he hears about the tier 2 warrior. It's not shameful to admit defeat. After all, being able to become a tier 1 mage is already equivalent to being a tier 2 warrior. Let's enjoy the match. That masked mage is very mysterious. Even Silver Sword admitted defeat. We can't even guess the outcome. That's right, maybe contestant number 101 will still win this match. A tier 2 warrior? Lin Ming frowned slightly. He didn't expect such a person to appear in the low-level arena either. Looking at the VIP box, he seemed to understand something. Then, the skill panel appeared in his mind. Looking at the tier 2 fire snake spell, he chose to level up without hesitation. Although he had enough magic power now, he didn't dare to be careless when facing a tier 2 warrior. After 2 consecutive plus signs, the system notification sounded in his mind. Ding, your fire snake spell mastery has increased. Current level is master, level 4. Quote, please welcome the 2 contestants onto the stage. As the referee's voice fell, all eyes were focused on the fighting arena. Lin Ming walked onto the stage calmly. This also made many people sigh in relief. They were afraid that contestant number 101 would forfeit. And they didn't want to miss out on an exciting match. Bang! A deafening sound rang out. A 2-meter-long steel blade fell into the fighting arena. It stabbed horizontally into the ground. The cracks that shook open spread for several meters. Then, with another muffled sound, a figure appeared at the side of the broadsword. It was Dylan Harry. He was more than 2 meters tall, and the muscles on his body seemed to be tearing his clothes apart. What was more terrifying was that one of his arms was only half. However, there was a sharp sword on it. The audience could not help but gasp. Some people even cried out in surprise. I'm afraid that if one was hit by that broadsword, one would turn into meat paste. Look at his arms, what a ruthless man. Ruthless? Dylan Harry was really demonic. I heard that he joined an adventure team before. Due to different opinions, he slaughtered the entire adventure team. Indeed, I've heard of it before. That's an E-class adventure team. There are already 2 tier 1 warriors. Soon, the bets began. Due to the strength of Dylan Harry, the odds were once again one-sided. The odds were 1 to 3. However, the number of people betting had increased a lot. Dear Mage, do you still want to bet this time? The referee asked politely. In his opinion, Lin Ming's chance of losing this round was very high. After all, the opponent was a tier 2 warrior who was famous for his brutality. However, Dylan Harry would probably be forced to show mercy due to his status as a mage. Hearing that, Lin Ming took out his magic crystal card. Naturally, the same as before. There are still 600 gold coins here. I will place all my bets. The referee took the magic crystal card shakily. He was about to say something, but when he saw Lin Ming's confident look, he did not say anything. He didn't want to offend a mage. Even if it was a tier 1 mage, he didn't want to offend too. Lin Ming's actions caused a wave of criticism on the field. Who is this mage? Shouldn't he be thinking about how to survive when facing Dylan Harry? He's betting all his money again, and it's an entire magic crystal card. Could it be that he still has the confidence to win the competition? Many people were uncertain. However, no one changed their minds and placed their bets on Lin Ming. At this moment, a maniacal laughter was heard. Ha ha ha, I've watched your 2 matches as well. You indeed have some tricks up your sleeve. But I, Dylan Harry, will not show mercy when I make a move. Even if you're a mage, I won't. There's still time to give up. Dylan Harry looked at Lin Ming mockingly. As a mage, he would be afraid of other places. After all, many mages had schools or magic associations backing them up, but this was a fighting arena. Lin Ming did not respond. Instead, he was thinking about how much money he could earn from this match. After all, there were quite a lot of people participating in this bet. According to the odds, I should be able to earn at least 1,800 gold coins. Seeing that the masked man did not respond, Dylan Harry was immediately enraged. In his eyes, this was a complete insult. You're courting death. He pulled out his broadsword and swung it abruptly, setting off a biting cold airwave. It swept towards Lin Ming. Lin Ming did not move at all. His white robe fluttered in the airwave. The expression of the referee in the arena changed drastically. Cold sweat directly soaked through his back, and he ran out of the arena in panic. The fierce-looking him was even a little comical. However, no one in the entire arena laughed at him. This was because everyone knew that very few people could remain calm in the face of Dylan Harry. Even these conscientious gamblers could not help but felt fear innerly when they saw Dylan Harry's tall and sturdy figure. In the VIP box, two old men were sitting in it. They were both managers of the fighting arena, and they were also two Tier 4 warriors. Judging from Dylan Harry's aura, I'm afraid it won't be long before he breaks through to Tier 3. It won't be too late to recruit him when he becomes a Tier 3 warrior. Let's see how he deals with this mysterious mage first. The two old men smiled at each other and said with satisfaction. They had arranged this match particularly because they had taken a fancy to Dylan Harry's talent and wanted to nurture him into a member of the fighting arena. Moreover, the appearance of the mage had also attracted the attention of the management. They wanted to use this match to test Dylan Harry's strength, and also wanted to test Lin Ming's strength. On the field, the airwave disappeared, and Lin Ming stood calmly on the spot. Not bad, I recognize you just because of this boldness. But you will turn into a corpse next. Dylan Harry laughed wildly. His gaze became fiery. The broadsword that weighed hundreds of kilograms moved wantonly in his hand. It was as if it had no weight, but Lin Ming was very calm, and a flame suddenly shot out from his hand. 1 meter, 2 meters. The flame kept expanding in Lin Ming's hand. It didn't stop until it reached nearly 10 meters. Fire snake spell. Lin Ming shouted coldly. The flame in the air instantly condensed into the shape of a snake. The current fire snake was several times bigger than the previous one. Seeing this scene, the audience couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. That flame seems to be several times stronger than the previous one. Could it be that he has been hiding his strength? Fire snake spell? How could there be such a big snake? It's completely a fire dragon. The audience and gamblers were very excited. Meanwhile, Dylan Harry was frowning, and the corners of his mouth kept twitching. He had been through hundreds of battles. He had also seen many Tier 1 fire magi, but he had never seen anyone who could condense such a big flame. At this moment, he felt an inexplicable sense of fear. To be able to use the fire snake spell to such an extent? Could he be a Tier 3 mage? No, that's impossible. In the VIP box, tea was scattered all over the floor. The two elders' eyes were wide open as they looked at the scene in disbelief. They were very familiar with the fire snake spell. Without the strength of a Tier 3 mage, it was impossible to master it to such an extent. However, the two of them could feel the masked man's strength. At most, he was a Tier 2 mage. He was definitely not a Tier 3 mage. This was beyond their understanding. It's not too late for you to regret now. Lin Ming controlled the fire snake and said lightly. He came to the fighting arena purely for money. And he did not want to be bloodthirsty. Looking at the fire snake with its huge mouth open in the air, Dylan Harry's face turned pale, and cold sweat could not help but break out on his forehead. Impossible. It's impossible for you to cast such a spell with your strength. I'm going to break your illusion. Dylan Harry roared in anger, giving himself the courage to do so. He waved his broadsword and slashed at the fire snake in the air. He could also feel the strength of the masked man. He was definitely not stronger than a Tier 2 mage. At this moment, the entire place was in an uproar. Right, that must be fake. Dylan Harry, smash his flame. You are a Tier 2 warrior. You cannot admit defeat. Extinguish his flame. The ones who shouted the loudest were none other than those gamblers. After all, they had placed a huge bet on Dylan Harry. If Dylan Harry lost, some of them would probably go bankrupt. In the VIP box, as they watched Dylan Harry charge like fireworks, the expressions of the two elders eased up a little. There was even a hint of a smile on their faces. Looks like Dylan Harry still has some guts to be able to see through the clues in such a situation. We really didn't misjudge him. One of the elders laughed. There was a rather peculiar kind of magic in the magic world, known as the illusion magic. It would create an illusion that it was very powerful. Many mages would use this kind of effect to fake their power. Of course, it was also very effective, and it was very difficult for ordinary people to see through it. At this moment, the two of them were also certain that the masked man was using this kind of method. After all, in their eyes, the masked man's strength was definitely not that of a tier 3 mage. On the stage, Dylan Harry brandished his broadsword and slashed towards the fire dragon. The broadsword sliced through the air with an ear-piercing sound. Everyone held their breath and focused. They were looking forward to Dylan Harry crushing the fire snake. If you want to die, then don't blame me. Lin Ming's gaze was slightly cold. He raised his eyebrows and began to control the fire snake. The next moment, the fire snake seemed to have a life of its own. As it suddenly opened its huge mouth, there was even a slight roar. Break for me. Dylan Harry met the attack head-on. Bang! A muffled sound was heard. The fire snake charged towards the ground, creating several waves of heat. Dylan Harry's figure also disappeared within. Waves of a burning smell slowly filled the air. That smell, could it be that Dylan Harry lost? Don't talk nonsense. Dylan Harry will definitely break through the waves and walk out. Yes, isn't it just a flame? It won't burn people to death in a short time. Several gamblers frowned, even though the heat waves swept through them and made them sweat profusely. However, they didn't even blink their eyes as they stared at the fighting arena. But in the VIP box, the two elders sat weakly on the chairs as if they had no strength left in their bodies. They were dumbstruck. The audience did not know. As tier 4 warriors, they knew very well the fireworks were not an illusion at all. And the temperature at the center was thousands of degrees. Even steel would melt, not to mention humans. They would probably turn into ashes in an instant. How is this possible? Who is that youth? He is not a tier 3 mage. How can he cast such a terrifying fire snake spell? Both of their eyes were trembling as they cried out in disbelief. The flame on the field finally dispersed. After the flame dissipated, there was only one person standing on the field. That was Lin Ming. He did not seem to have moved at all. And Dylan Harry had already disappeared. Gulp. The audience could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Immediately, the pot exploded. Where did Dylan Harry go? How could he disappear into thin air? Come out quickly, Dylan Harry. I don't want to lose. FCKU. Dylan Harry is probably already dead. Then what about his corpse? Quick, look at the center of the field. Someone shouted. The eyes of the audience were focused on the center of the field. They saw a mass of gray ashes scattered all over the ground. Dylan Harry's broadsword had already undergone a change. If one did not look carefully, they would not be able to recognize it. Silence. The entire field was extremely silent. Only at this moment did they understand that the fireworks had directly incinerated Dylan Harry. Dylan Harry didn't even have the chance to shout. Demonic. He is extremely demonic. At this moment, a fanatical gambler shouted in shock. He had been in the fighting arena for several years and witnessed the deaths of thousands of fighters. His mental strength had long been like steel and couldn't be destroyed. Even if he killed someone with his own hands, he would never frown. But at this moment, fear had occupied his heart. He had never seen such a terrifying killing method. Why is that mage so terrifying? I don't even have the courage to look at him one more time. Many people could not help but mutter to themselves. Lin Ming, on the other hand, calmly walked towards the referee. Arrange for the next match as soon as possible. Also, place all my winning bets on the match. Hearing that, the stunned referee came back to his senses. He walked towards the fighting arena shakily. Everyone, pay attention. The next match is about to begin. Please welcome the next contestant to the stage. The referee tried his best to restrain himself, but he was still unable to finish his sentence smoothly. I forfeit too. I forfeit from the fighting arena. For a moment, the remaining contestants all went up to the stage to forfeit. Even some of the contestants did not dare to go on stage and directly disappeared without a trace. In the past, if a contestant forfeited, there would definitely be a wave of boos. However, at this moment, everyone in the arena nodded their heads and praised the contestants who had forfeited. After all, it was a low-level arena. The vast majority of the people were of ordinary strength. It was very difficult to even meet a one-star swordsman. A terrifying figure like Dylan Harry wouldn't even appear a few times a year if the fighting arena hadn't intentionally arranged it. And everyone could clearly see their end results. Each one was worse than the previous. If they didn't surrender, were they going to wait for their ashes to be raised? In the VIP box, a beautiful woman with a cold expression appeared. She was wearing gorgeous clothes, and her blue eyes were emitting a chill. As long as one was a regular in the fighting arena, they would naturally recognize this cold and elegant woman. She was the real owner of the fighting arena, Ernest Lin. Not bad, it's quite interesting. I hope to see him in the intermediate fighting arena. Looking at the mysterious contestant number 101 in the fighting arena, Ernest's red lips moved slightly, and her beautiful eyes curved like crescent moons, making her look even colder and more alluring. Behind her, the two managers of the fighting arena covered their chests with their right hands and leaned over. They replied in unison, "Don't worry. It won't be long before he enters the intermediate fighting arena." Then, as the two of them looked up, Ernest Lin walked out of the VIP box. As Tier 4 warriors, the two of them heaved a sigh of relief. Not only was Ernest the owner of the fighting arena, but she was also a Tier 6 assassin. She was very powerful. There were even several professionals of the same realm who had died under her hands. The two of them knew clearly that Ernest's words were to recruit this mysterious mage. On the field, Lin Ming had consumed a bottle of magic power recovery potion, and the magic power in his body had almost recovered in an instant. Until now, there was still no one who dared to enter the field. The 10th contestant forfeits. Today's match ends here, the referee announced loudly. The audience on the field was silent. No one left as usual. The terrifying power displayed by the mage on the field had long surpassed their understanding. They looked at Lin Ming with doubt and anticipation. Some people even began to urge the referee anxiously. "Referee, have you forgotten the rules? That's right, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and ask him if he will continue to participate in the intermediate fighting arena." Only then did the referee come back to his senses. There was indeed such a rule in the fighting arena. All the contestants who had won 10 consecutive matches would be asked if they would like to continue in the next level fighting arena, in order to arrange the competition in advance. After all, the difference between each fighting arena was very big. At least half of the contestants would choose to give up the competition after winning 10 consecutive matches. Perhaps in the low-level fighting arena, one could completely crush others. But in the intermediate fighting arena, one would be the target to kill. The intermediate fighting arena was the world of all kinds of professionals. Dear Mage, do you choose to participate in the intermediate fighting arena? If you choose to participate, the fighting arena will give you 500 gold coins. The referee quickly bowed and said he had just received an order from the management that the man in front of him must participate in the intermediate fighting arena. Of course, this 500 gold coins was specially given to Lin Ming. The other contestants did not receive such treatment. The corners of Lin Ming's mouth rose slightly. He had wanted to continue participating, but he did not expect the arena to give him an additional 500 gold coins. "I will." Lin Ming nodded and replied, "Dear Mage, where do you live? The intermediate fighting arena's competition will be arranged for tomorrow. When the time comes, I will send someone specially to pick you up." The referee felt slightly relaxed, and he quickly asked happily. When the audience heard Lin Ming's answer, they became excited. In their opinion, Lin Ming's strength could completely run amok in the intermediate fighting arena. They were very much looking forward to the mage's gorgeous performance. After rejecting the referee, Lin Ming took his magic crystal card and disappeared from the fighting arena. He did not want too many people to understand him. After leaving the fighting arena, Lin Ming found a place with no one around and took off his mask. He prepared to walk around the huge black market. Although the black market here was not the largest black market in the Yan Lan dukedom, there were all kinds of things. Soon, Lin Ming's gaze was attracted by a few shouts. He saw hundreds of people gathered not far away. In the center, there was a kind-looking old man with 2 Tier 3 warriors protecting him. Next, it's the muscle-strengthening pill. You only need to take 1 pill to recover from your muscles and bones injuries in a week. The price isn't very high. You only need 10 gold coins. Of course, the rule is still that the highest bidder gets it. The kind-looking old man raised the bottle in his hand and introduced. A hint of arrogance appeared on his face. "I bid 11 gold coins, 15, 20 gold coins." Very soon, there were people who scrambled to bid. In the end, it was bought by a 2-star swordsman for 25 gold coins. Alchemist? Lin Ming sized up the kind-looking old man. From the badge on his chest, he recognized that he was a Tier 2 alchemist. Lin Ming was slightly shocked. One had to know, the tier of an alchemist was similar to other professions. A Tier 2 alchemist could sell the medicine he refined for 25 gold coins? If one was a Tier 4 or Tier 5 alchemist, the medicine one refined would probably be worth 100 gold coins. Looks like I have to give it a try in the future. To see if I can become an alchemist. Lin Ming muttered and disappeared into the black market. The next day, Lin Ming once again entered the fighting arena. However, this time, he entered the intermediate fighting arena. It was much more flourishing than the low-level fighting arena. The fighting arena was no longer made of rubble. Instead, it was made of marble. However, there were still traces of battle and many scarlet stains. It could be seen that this was still a cold killing ground. When Lin Ming appeared, there were no longer the usual boos. Instead, there were cheers. The Flame King, go go go. I firmly believe that you can still win 10 consecutive matches in the intermediate fighting arena. Today, no matter who the opponent is, I will always place my bets on you. The Flame King was not a title that the fighting arena had chosen for a gimmick. Instead, it was a title that the gamblers had given Lin Ming yesterday. Lin Ming did not care about this, because he knew very well that as long as he lost the match or died in the fighting arena. What Flame King? In their hearts, it would only turn into nothingness. Excuse me, can we begin? A beautiful woman with a sexy figure came to Lin Ming's side and asked softly. She was the referee of the intermediate fighting arena. Lin Ming nodded slightly, indicating with his head. Although this female referee was beautiful and moving, her hands were very rough, and there was even a layer of calluses between her thumb and forefinger. Lin Ming roughly guessed that she was a Tier 2 assassin. A moment later, the match began. Lin Ming continued to bet all of the 2,400 gold coins in his magic crystal card. Of course, the vast majority of people no longer looked down on Lin Ming. They placed their bets one after another. And the odds reached an astonishing 10 to 1. Soon, another player entered the stage. A 1-star swordsman. Before the crowd could cheer, the match came to an end with the appearance of the fire snake. It was completely Lin Ming's strength winning. After all, he had killed a Tier 2 warrior yesterday. After Lin Ming consumed the magic power recovery potion, the next match began again. The ending was still the same. It was a crushing defeat without any suspense. There were even 2 Tier 1 warriors who chose to forfeit. The entire audience began to cheer for Lin Ming. They kept shouting the title of the Flame King. In the VIP box, Ernest Lin watched Lin Ming's battle, and a hint of a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. As a Tier 6 assassin, she could tell that Lin Ming's level was not high, but he could use the fire snake spell to such an extent, which surprised her, and Ernest was very sure that the fire snake spell of a Tier 3 mage could not be compared to it. No wonder he could kill Dylan Harry in an instant. When it's time for the 10th match, let Joseph go on stage, Ernest said. The 2 managers behind her originally wanted to say something, but when they looked at Ernest, they didn't have the courage to say anything. They hurriedly replied, all right. However, they couldn't help but start to worry. Joseph was the ever-victorious general of the fighting arena. And he was also a Tier 3 warrior who had killed countless people. The 2 of them knew very well that Ernest wanted to recruit contestant number 101 into the force of the fighting arena. This was a test set for him. However, this test was indeed a bit too much. It was hard to say if contestant number 101 would die here. Time was short. Lin Ming quickly won 9 consecutive matches. Each battle would end in less than 5 minutes. There were even a few contestants who gave up before they got on the stage. This also made the audience and gamblers a little angry. After all, they had not watched this competition for nothing. They had paid the entrance fee. For a moment, the entire stadium was restless. What kind of joke is this? Why are they acting so cowardly? That's right, why are all of you giving up? Is there no one left in your arena? If there are still contestants giving up, I'll refund my ticket immediately. The beautiful referee looked around coldly, as if she was used to such situations. Soon, she announced coldly, the next contestant is Joseph. Lin Ming did not notice. He was taking a magic power recovery potion while looking at the magic crystal card in his hand. A smile appeared on his face, There are already 5,000 gold coins. The atmosphere in the arena instantly became exciting. The gamblers exchanged glances. Joseph, haven't you heard of him? He's a tier 3 warrior. He has never lost in the arena before. I heard that in one of his matches, he faced 10 competitors. And all of them died. Not a single one of them survived. How terrifying. Just as everyone was whispering to each other, a black-robed man walked towards the arena. With an extremely calm expression, he crossed his arms and held a sword that was covered in rust. However, the blade of the sword was abnormally sharp. It emitted threads of cold light. Lin Ming, who was standing in the arena, frowned slightly. He also felt a long-lost sense of oppression. A tier 3 warrior? Lin Ming became serious, although he had previously crushed a tier 2 warrior. However, the difference between the two was not small. Even 5 tier 2 warriors could not deal with a tier 3 warrior. Lin Ming was not the only one who was serious. The gamblers on the field also began to analyze seriously. They were analyzing which side had the greater chance of winning. On one side was the mysterious mage, who had never lost before and had killed his enemies in an instant. On the other side was the terrifying tier 3 warrior, Joseph. The close combat mage will be at a disadvantage. Joseph will definitely win. Not necessarily, right? I'm afraid Joseph won't even be able to get close to the Flame King. After all, he can refresh our knowledge time and time again. Hehe, do you think it's still a tier 2 warrior? Even 3 tier 2 warriors aren't Joseph's match. The gamblers fell into a discussion. It was very difficult to make a decision for the time being. Lin Ming was still very calm as he threw the magic crystal card. To the referee, 5,000 gold coins, all in. Very soon, the betting was over, and the odds reached a 1-to-1 draw. The entire arena was in an uproar. The gamblers were extremely excited. In the highest VIP box of the arena, Ernest Lin was swirling a wine glass in her hand, and her crescent moon-like brows were slightly furrowed. Her eyes revealed a trace of surprise and anticipation. She really hadn't expected contestant number 101 to be so calm when facing a tier 3 warrior. He had even bet all of his assets. Ernest had already told Joseph not to kill him. But if he lost, the 5,000 gold coins would be wasted. Ernest smiled, I hope I didn't misjudge you. On the stage, Lin Ming and Joseph stood on opposite ends of the stage. Neither of them made a move. Instead, they observed each other. After a while, Joseph frowned slightly. He looked at Lin Ming in confusion. As a tier 3 warrior, he could feel that Lin Ming was only a tier 1 mage. But why? He could defeat a tier 2 warrior, and he could win 9 battles in a row in the intermediate fighting arena? Joseph became more and more confused. However, he understood why Ernest would let him keep Lin Ming alive. This mage was indeed mysterious. Lin Ming's thoughts floated. He had been thinking about how to achieve a one-hit victory. After all, his opponent was a tier 3 warrior. He was completely different from the previous contestants. Naturally, he could not recklessly release the fire snake spell. Once the fire snake spell missed, he would be in danger. He could only use the magic power recovery potions. However, as a tier 3 warrior, Joseph had a chance to defeat him in this gap. Looking at the two contestants on the field who were not moving, the audience below could not wait. They booed and discussed. What's going on? Are you all going to fight or not? My wife is going to give birth soon. FCK, you are indeed a professional gambler. What's the rush? In a fight between experts, they usually have to fight for 300 rounds with their eyes. No, Joseph is starting to move. On the field, Joseph slowly pulled down his black robe and revealed a bronze armor. Squeak. The sword in his hand slashed across the iron armor coldly, and tiny sparks kept flashing. It was able to make him take off his black robe. This meant that he had already started to treat this match seriously. And the mage in front of him had already made him take things seriously. Joseph pointed his sword at Lin Ming. Make your move, I hope you won't disappoint me. And Lin Ming did not even move. He did not seem to make a move at all. Joseph no longer had that kind of patience. The sword's edge flashed coldly, as his figure suddenly approached forward. He really wanted to test just how strong the mage in front of him was. In an instant, Joseph had already crossed more than half of the arena. He was less than 100 steps away from Lin Ming. Everyone's gaze was focused on Lin Ming. However, he was still the same. His hands were behind his back, and he looked very calm. Joseph was also puzzled. Even a tier 3 mage would not dare to let him get so close to them. Although a mage's attack was extremely destructive. However, many mages had a fatal weakness, which was that their defense was extremely low. Even if they had defensive magic. But if they were being approached by other professionals, the consequences would be unimaginable. And this mage in front of him seemed to be deliberately letting him get close? Only 20 steps away. The hearts of everyone present tensed up. What is the Flame King trying to do? Doesn't he know that warriors are the strongest in close combat? Still not making a move? Make a move, hurry up and make a move. If you don't make a move now, it will be too late. The people who shouted the loudest were the gamblers, who placed their bets on Lin Ming. Their eyes instantly became very ugly. At this moment, even Ernest could not help but stand up and look over with a cold and puzzled expression. As a Tier 6 assassin, she was very clear that contestant number 101 was simply courting death by doing this. However, after observing for so long, Ernest also realized that contestant number 101 was an extremely intelligent mage. For a moment, she also could not understand what Lin Ming was trying to do. You're simply courting death, Joseph roared angrily, wanting to use this method to wake Lin Ming up. After all, he had promised Ernest that he would not kill Lin Ming. However, if Lin Ming did not make a move, then he could not be blamed. 20 steps, 10 steps. Lin Ming ignored the doubts around him as he stared at Joseph's footsteps. He naturally knew that this method was extremely dangerous. But to win, this was the only way. 5 steps. Now, Lin Ming moved. The hands behind his back suddenly stretched out to the front. Fire snake spell, accompanied by a furious roar, a scorching flame shot out from Lin Ming's hands. Bang! The powerful impact instantly sent Lin Ming flying several meters away. This move was the only way Lin Ming could think of. If he wanted to defeat a Tier 3 warrior, he had to take a certain risk. After all, he was only a Tier 1 mage. The magic power stored in his body was only enough for him to cast the powerful fire snake spell once. If he didn't strike well, he would only lose. The sudden appearance of the fireworks woke everyone up. He finally made his move. My God, his life is hanging by a thread. If he had been a second later, he would have turned into a corpse. The only mage who can fight like this is probably the Flame King. The audience was extremely shocked. The nervous scene just now made many people break out in cold sweat. They once again realized how terrifying Lin Ming was. On the field, Joseph raised the sword in his hand and resisted the fire snake with all his might. His eyes were filled with fear. With his speed, he could easily dodge the magic attack from a far distance. But at a close distance, there was no chance at all. At this moment, he finally understood the strength of this mysterious mage. It was not his magic, but this kind of powerful boldness that came from putting one's life on the line. Not bad, interesting. Ernest's lips moved slightly as she praised. There was a hint of surprise in her eyes, and she heaved a sigh of relief innerly. She had experienced thousands of battles, and she had faced all kinds of powerful mages. She had even fought against a Tier 7 mage. Perhaps only Lin Ming could surprise her. After all, most mages would only hide in a safe area to cast magic when they were fighting. The two managers standing behind Ernest were also very surprised. It was not just because of the battle on the field. It was also because of the expression in Ernest's eyes. That had never appeared before. In their impression, Ernest was an exceptionally cold woman. No matter what, she would not be moved in the slightest. But now, a mage had changed their minds. On the field, the fire snake was causing Joseph to tremble non-stop. Under such circumstances, it was impossible for him to escape. After all, the current fire snake spell that Lin Ming had casted advanced to Tier 4. Moreover, Lin Ming's control of the fire snake would not consume any magic power at all. Taking advantage of this gap, Lin Ming had consumed a bottle of magic power recovery potion, and the magic power in his body had almost recovered. However, he didn't plan to attack again. On the field, Joseph was already struggling with the fire snake. He couldn't move at all. Looking at Joseph, who was trapped by the fire snake on the field, the audience exclaimed, "Is the fire snake really so powerful? Even a Tier 3 warrior can't break it?" And Joseph seems to be exhausted. Gulp. Who is contestant number 101? Could he be a Tier 3 mage? Suddenly, Joseph roared in anger. All the muscles in his body bulged. Even the armor on his body creaked. Bang! A deafening sound was heard. The fire snake suddenly disappeared, and waves of heat spread out. Joseph shattered the fire snake. He shattered the fire snake, and seems to be unharmed. Look, his eyes have become more determined. Joseph, continue. The gamblers who had placed bets on Joseph became very enthusiastic. The gamblers who had placed bets on Lin Ming became dispirited. Ernest, my lord, should we stop the match? Joseph won't fall for that trick the second time. If he makes a move, contestant number 101 will definitely be in danger, the elder standing behind Ernest asked. However, Ernest didn't respond at all. She just stared at Lin Ming. Should we continue? Lin Ming stared at Joseph and asked calmly. At this moment, Joseph's body had consumed a lot of energy.
On the other hand,
after Lin Ming had taken the magic power recovery potion, the energy in his body was already very abundant. If he were to make a move, Lin Ming was very confident that he could kill Joseph in one hit. Clang, ding, ding, ding. The sword in Joseph's hand fell to the ground. Even the armor on his body was shattered into pieces. Falling down one by one, it collided with the marble on the ground, creating a clear sound. I admit defeat, Joseph said very frankly. He no longer had the courage to continue fighting, because he knew that if he continued, the person who would die would be him. And that fire snake, it was even more terrifying than he had imagined. His iron armor looked ordinary, but it was a genuine tier 2 treasure. But under the attack of the fire snake, it turned into pieces. As his words fell, Joseph's right hand covered his chest, and he walked toward Lin Ming with a sincere etiquette. Then he walked out of the field. He left everyone present in shock. Even the cold and silent referee could not help but frown at Lin Ming, whom Joseph respected. A tier 1 mage versus a tier 3 warrior. As a tier 2 assassin, she was very clear about the gap between the two. She thought that the mage would definitely lose. But in the end, it was actually the tier 1 mage who won. Shock, incomparable shock. As a tier 2 assassin, she had never been afraid of a tier 1 mage, but at this moment, she felt a sense of danger from Lin Ming. The gamblers in the arena were filled with all kinds of emotions. Frightened, shocked, and bewilderment. There were even some people who did not believe that Joseph would fail. The people who placed bets on Joseph. They kept shouting wildly, "Shady, it's definitely a shady plot," without waiting for the arena to respond. The people around began to retort, "Don't you see that under Joseph's armor, there are all burn scars?" The debate in the arena continued. In the VIP box, the two old men standing behind Ernest exclaimed in unison, "How is this possible?" Admitting defeat. They knew Joseph's temper very well. Arrogance. He was extremely arrogant. No one could make him lower his head and admit defeat. But today, Joseph didn't just admit defeat. The two managers could also see that Joseph was completely convinced of his defeat. If this continues, the person who will die will be Joseph. Ernest's red lips moved slightly, as she carefully sized up the masked man in the arena. A hint of satisfaction appeared in the corners of her eyes. The person who would die would be Joseph. Hearing this, the two of them were once again shocked. They revealed an expression of disbelief. Joseph was a genuine tier 3 warrior. His strength could sweep away all the competitors. In their opinion, Joseph had admitted defeat because of the mage's astonishing boldness. It made him feel ashamed. If they were to fight again, the winner would definitely be Joseph. At this moment, Joseph came to the VIP box in an extremely sorry state. His tough skin was covered with burn marks. "Lord Ernest, his strength has exceeded our expectations. A tier 1 mage can cast such a terrifying fire snake spell. I can't imagine how terrifying he will be after becoming a tier 5. Tier 6, or even higher tier mage." Joseph leaned over, his eyes were still filled with shock. In fact, he already knew that he was going on stage to test the strength of the mysterious mage. He also understood that Ernest wanted to rope in that man. "Take care of your injuries," Ernest replied coldly. She naturally understood that the mage's future was limitless. Then, she turned around and left, leaving behind two extremely shocked managers. On the field, Lin Ming took his magic crystal card. There were already 10,100 gold coins in it. To the current Lin Ming, this was a considerable amount of wealth. After all, when he first came, he only had 10 gold coins on him. The competition of the advanced fighting arena was tomorrow. And today, Lin Ming had already made plans. After keeping the magic crystal card in his bag, Lin Ming disappeared into the fighting arena. After a while, Lin Ming came to the center of the black market. There was a magnificent building here, which didn't fit in with the environment of the black market. On it, there was a huge plaque, and the words were very eye-catching: Black Norland Auction. Black Norland Family. It was the largest auction force in the Yanlan dukedom. As long as there were transactions, one could see their auction house. Yesterday, Lin Ming saw the announcement of the goods that they were auctioning today. One of the listed was a bottle of magic enhancement potion, which caught Lin Ming's attention. Magic enhancement potion. It could help a mage raise the quality of their magic power in a short period of time and expand their spirit. It could even allow a mage to break through the bottleneck and enter the next tier. Of course, this was only for low-tier mages. For high-tier mages, the effect was very weak. After becoming a tier 4 mage, the expansion of the spirit could only be achieved through self-meditation. For the current Lin Ming, this magic enhancement potion might directly allow him to break through to a tier 2 mage. Looking at the magic crystal card in his hand, Lin Ming blended into the bustling crowd. He entered the auction venue. Looking around, it was full of professionals. Swordsmen, knights, warriors. There were even many mages. Even the auctioneer on the stage was a genuine 4-star swordsman. All kinds of strange things began to be auctioned. Weapons, armor, spiritual herbs. The prices ranged from 1,000 silver coins to tens of thousands of gold coins. Lin Ming didn't make a move. These things were completely useless to him now. Soon, it was the magic enhancement potion that he had been looking forward to. It wasn't just Lin Ming. Many tier 1 mages were here for this potion. They couldn't help but rush forward. However, the magic enhancement potion wasn't displayed like before. This made Lin Ming feel a little strange. Everyone, I'm sorry. The magic enhancement potion has already been bought by another buyer for 10 times the price. Next, let's proceed to the following products auction. The auctioneer on the stage said apologetically. Very quickly, the next item's auction entered. They completely ignored the angry mages below the stage. Although the mages who came for this were indignant, they did not dare to shout out loud. Bought it in advance for 10 times the price. This was a rule that had been in place for many years in the auction house. Moreover, the power of the Black Norland family was very strong. There were several high-tier mages alone. Moreover, there was also a tier 6 alchemist. Such a powerful existence was not something that these low-tier mages dared to challenge. Such bad luck? Lin Ming muttered faintly. He did not expect to encounter such a situation when he entered the auction house for the first time. However, compared to the other mages whose faces were full of anger, Lin Ming appeared more indifferent. He took a glance at the other auction products. There were no items that he cared about. So he simply left the auction house. In the VIP loft of the auction house, the person in charge of the auction house, Johannes, looked at the gorgeous woman beside him in confusion. He reminded her, "You are a tier 6 assassin. You spent 10 times the amount of money to buy the magic enhancement potion. Now you don't have the chance to regret." The gorgeous woman didn't explain much. She threw a magic crystal card, picked up the magic enhancement potion, and walked out of the auction house. Lin Ming left the auction. He didn't return to the hostel where he stayed. He had been wandering in the black market. After seeing the different high prices of the spiritual herbs sold in the auction, he became even more determined to become an alchemist. Now, he just wanted to find a book about alchemy in the black market. But things always backfired. This kind of book was very rare, and he couldn't find it even in the black market. Sigh, looks like today's luck is indeed not good. Lin Ming sighed softly. His eyes could not help but look not far away. He saw a graceful, beautiful and moving woman with a cold temperament appeared. Such a woman, even Lin Ming could not help but take a few more glances at her. The next moment, Lin Ming was a little dumbfounded. Logically speaking, when such a beauty appeared, all the men nearby should be staring straight at her. Even if one wanted to strike up a conversation with her, it wouldn't be too much to ask for her contact details. However, everywhere she passed, the men around her seemed to wither. They subconsciously lowered their heads. Could it be that the men in this world weren't confident? That's not right. Lin Ming quickly noticed the atmosphere around. It wasn't that they weren't confident, but that they were afraid. Following that, the beautiful woman slowly walked over. He also felt a powerful pressure. He also saw the badge on her body, 6-star assassin. As expected, the more attractive one is, the more dangerous one is. Lin Ming no longer stared at the beautiful woman. He turned around and prepared to continue searching for the books on alchemy. But in the next second, a cold and melodious voice sounded. Wait, Lin Ming stopped walking. He turned around, pointed at the tip of his nose and asked, "Are you calling for me?" Seeing this scene, the surrounding men could not help but break out in a cold sweat for Lin Ming. That woman was Ernest Lin. Who in the entire black market did not know this name? The man who had stared at her like that last time. The grass on the grave was at least 30 centimeters long. Moreover, that man was a tier 4 warrior. It's over, it's over. Although that young man is quite handsome, I reckon the end result will be death. Nonsense, even if I had 8 guts, I wouldn't dare to stare at Ernest like he did. It's probably his first time coming to the black market. It's his bad luck to meet a female devil. Many people discussed in low voices. In their opinion, Lin Ming's casual glance was just staring straight at her. But in the next second, everyone was stunned. It wasn't like what they thought, which was death. A smile appeared on Ernest's cold face. That smile made her even more attractive. Ernest nodded at Lin Ming and asked, "Do you have time? Can we talk in private?" Her nice attitude towards Lin Ming. There were 2 reasons. First, Ernest knew that the man in front of her was contestant number 101 of the fighting arena. The magic talent he displayed was very terrifying, and his future was bound to be bright. She wanted to pull this talent into her team. Secondly, Ernest also did not expect that the man in front of her would be so handsome, even though she never looked straight at men. An inexplicable feeling rose in her heart. Ernest's words caused the people nearby to involuntarily tremble. Talk in private? Could it be that the female devil now paid attention to the situation when killing people? No, I've never seen Ernest smile before. Could it be that her heart, which has been cold for several years, has been aroused? Bullshit. Just you wait and see. In a moment, that man will become a dead corpse. The people nearby secretly watched this scene. As they discussed in low voices, they were all sweating for Lin Ming. There were even people who kept signaling Lin Ming with their eyes, telling him to run, run. Of course, Lin Ming also noticed the strange scene around him, but he was even more dumbfounded. He had never even heard of Ernest Lin, let alone knew about her deeds. Lin Ming looked at the beautiful woman in front of him. He thought that he still had a fighting competition to participate in tomorrow. He shook his head and refused. "I'm sorry, I don't have the time." He wasn't someone who would be walked over whenever he saw a beautiful woman. Upon hearing Lin Ming's words, the surrounding men were dumbfounded. It was unbelievable, rejecting Ernest Lin on the street. In their opinion, Lin Ming's actions were definitely the actions of causing his own death on the street. There were even quite a number of people who shook their heads and shut their eyes tightly. It was as if they couldn't bear to see his head fall to the ground. Ernest did not make a move as everyone had expected. Instead, she took out a small bottle and said with a faint smile, "I think you will have some time. Magic enhancement potion?" The mysterious buyer was her? Lin Ming's eyes lit up. That bottle of potion was the magic enhancement potion from the auction. Could it be that this beautiful woman had been following him? She knew that he needed the magic enhancement potion? A tier 6 assassin. Thinking about it was terrifying. Lin Ming squeezed out a smile. "I'm sorry, I really don't have time. I still have some urgent matters to attend to." After saying that, he turned around and wanted to escape. But in the next second, Lin Ming experienced how terrifying a tier 6 assassin was. Swoosh! A red afterimage appeared in front of him. That speed was hard to discern with the naked eye. "As long as we can find a place to chat, I can give you an alchemy manual." Ernest's expression changed slightly. It was no longer as gentle as before. She had previously investigated this man and had been searching for alchemy manuals in the black market. If not for his unique talent, how could Ernest have backed down twice? If it was anyone else, they would have already become a corpse. Oh my God, what's wrong with the female devil? Why is she so kind to that man? Could it be that the female devil is really moved? Don't talk nonsense, or your head will fall to the ground. Everyone nearby clicked their tongues. Their eyes were filled with envy. Although they called Ernest the female devil, but everyone would want to bow down to her. In their eyes, that handsome man seemed to have a chance. Then, looked at Lin Ming. His heart was filled with mixed feelings. She even knew that he was looking for alchemy manuals? Stalking openly. But she was a tier 6 assassin. Although the dark young explosion was powerful, he had no way of controlling. After brewing for a long time, Lin Ming made a decision. We can talk, but on one condition: send me home on time. Ernest laughed and threw the magic enhancement potion to Lin Ming. I'll get someone to send you the alchemy manual later. Come with me. Then the two of them left one after another. Everyone was left with their imaginations running wild. There were even some people whose faces were filled with grief and indignation. No matter how much they thought about it, they never thought that such a scene would appear. The female devil that the entire black market was afraid of. She actually smiled and left with a man? This news was undoubtedly like a raging wave in the black market. On the other hand, Lin Ming followed Ernest to the fighting arena. He finally knew Ernest's identity, and all the reasons why she had done it. What do you think? Ernest crossed her fingers in front of her chest and sized up Lin Ming. I can join, but I'm still a student of the Magic Academy. I can't stay in the arena every day. Lin Ming said honestly. Joining the arena would allow him to earn a lot of money every month. And he could also learn about the black market. But his identity was indeed a bit special. Ernest smiled and said, "It doesn't matter. If I need you for anything, I'll let you know." She was interested in Lin Ming's future value. When Lin Ming matured, she didn't dare to imagine how terrifying he would be. Okay, Lin Ming agreed happily. A bottle of magic enhancement potion and an alchemy manual. Moreover, he could get a large sum of money every month. He naturally couldn't reject such a good offer. At night, Lin Ming was in the room arranged by the fighting arena. He sat cross-legged with his eyes slightly closed, feeling his sea of consciousness expanding continuously. Before this, he had already taken the magic enhancement potion. The magic power in his body was changing imperceptibly. Phew, Lin Ming let out a long breath and raised his eyebrows slightly. A trace of a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. I succeeded, a tier 2 mage. Now, Lin Ming felt that his magic reserve could cast 2 powerful fire snake spells. Moreover, his magic power would not be overdrawn. With 2 fire snake spells, he would be able to easily deal with the problems he could encounter now. This included the advanced fighting competition tomorrow. Finish it early, I have to go back to school soon. After stretching his muscles and bones, Lin Ming went to bed early. The next day, the fighting competition had exceeded everyone's expectations. The Flame King seemed to have changed into a different person. He took the initiative to attack in every match, and he was very decisive. Even the extremely fast tier 2 assassin was defeated by him in less than half a minute. The heat wave in the fighting arena seemed to have never stopped. As expected of the person Lord Ernest has fancy, I didn't expect that just one day had passed. His strength has undergone an earth-shaking change. Lin Ming, he is now one of us. The 2 managers of the fighting arena stood beside Ernest and exclaimed in surprise. They weren't bragging. They started to admire Lin Ming from the bottom of their hearts. They admired his terrifying magic talent. Ernest sighed in her heart. Lin Ming was even more terrifying than she had imagined. Contestant number 101 wins, becomes the person in the fighting arena who wins 30 consecutive victories at the fastest speed. Following the cheers of the judges, the entire stadium shouted, Flame King. This name would never fade away like smoke. It was deeply engraved in the hearts of everyone in the fighting arena. Green Magic Academy. Lin Ming looked at these extremely familiar words and smiled faintly. At this moment, he was full of confidence. He was no longer the half-baked tier 1 mage that others said he was. Instead, he was an incomparably terrifying tier 2 mage. Moreover, the money he earned from the fighting arena, together with the reward Ernest had paid in advance, was already 20,000 gold coins. He could be considered a rich man. Lin Ming raised his eyebrows and strode through the door. Downstairs of the Wind Faculty building, a man in a tier 2 mage uniform was holding a crystal-like box in his arms. Inside was an exquisite crystal wand, with a large blue crystal inlaid on it. This scene attracted the attention of many students around. What attracted them was not only the valuable magic wand, but also the identity of the tier 2 mage. He was the strongest existence in the 2nd grade. The son of the Earl, Melodion, he was also the Prince Charming in the hearts of many female students. Lin Ming happened to pass by and also saw this scene. He was a little curious and stopped to watch. The surrounding students saw the magic wand in Melodion's arms. They couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. That wand was terrifyingly valuable. As expected of the son of the Earl, it was really luxurious to the extreme. Feeling the envious gazes of the surrounding students, Melodion was also very proud, thinking about the gift that he had spent so much money to buy. The goddess would definitely like it. Very soon, a blonde girl with blue eyes walked from the main entrance of the Wind Faculty building. She had a hot figure and a beautiful face. She had an ice-cold temperament, which made her even more attractive. If beauty was a kind of mistake, then she could only be described as an extremely evil person. Melodion was stunned when he saw the girl walk out. He quickly went over to her with some shyness. The onlookers finally came back to their senses. After seeing the girl's beautiful face, it was as if they had just woken up from a dream. In a trance, it was as if they had guessed the ending. As expected, I didn't guess wrong. Another confession for Goddess Winnie's again. My goddess will always attract so many competitors for me. And each one is more outstanding than the last. Bro, go take a piss and look at yourself. Do you think you're worthy? Who's Winnie? It was unknown who asked this question secretly. But it was despised by the surrounding people. At Green Magic Academy, it didn't matter if one didn't know the principal's name. Who didn't know Goddess Winnie? She was a prodigy who became a Tier 3 mage at the age of 18. No, even a prodigy wasn't enough for Winnie. Furthermore, she was the only granddaughter of Marquis Maud Williams, of the Yan Lan Dukedom. She was doted on by thousands of people. Very soon, Melodion ran in front of Winnie. He looked at Winnie and was still a little nervous. Not to mention Winnie's terrifying background and talent. Just her cold and elegant face made Melodion feel a trace of pressure in his heart. Hello. Melodion hurriedly greeted her, afraid that Winnie would leave directly. What's the matter? Winnie stopped her footsteps and glanced at Melodion. I'd like to invite you to dinner. I hope you'll agree. Melodion's brave words failed to come out. It would be embarrassing to be rejected with so many people around him. After all, the people Winnie turned down. There's no one worse than him. As Melodion finished his words, his hands were holding the magic wand, quietly waiting for Winnie's answer. When the surrounding students heard Melodion's words, they were so shocked that they could not close their mouths. They had clearly heard Melodion's previous words. He had completely retracted his words in fear. Could this be the aura of a goddess? I've already eaten, and don't bother me again in the future. I hope you can remember what I said, Winnie replied coldly. From the beginning to the end, she had never looked at Melodion. Melodion nodded repeatedly. He didn't even dare to say a single word. The surrounding male students were incomparably excited. It could even be described as unrestrained. Goddess Winnie, if they couldn't have her, how could they let others have her? And the female students were both happy and envious. As girls, who wouldn't be envious of Winnie's talent, temperament, strength, and status? But Winnie rejected Melodion, so they would have a chance. Lin Ming, wait for me. I'll be right there. Winnie saw a familiar figure, and her cold face immediately melted like an ice. Her tone was very sweet. Everyone was stunned. The icy goddess just suddenly became a soft girl? Lin Ming? The goddess actually called him brother. No, why does Lin Ming sound so familiar? A half-baked mage who has been practicing for 3 years. FCK, it can't be. Why does my goddess call him brother? Many people were in disbelief, as if they had been struck by a bolt from the blue. At this moment, someone said helplessly, I don't know why, but Goddess Winnie treats Lin Ming very well. And it's not just any good. This is also the reason why Lin Ming is not liked by all the male students in the school. Looking at this, Winnie ran towards Lin Ming with a smile on her face. All the male students present were extremely envious. There were even some people with expressions of extreme grief on their faces. He felt the eyes around him that wanted to tear him into pieces. Lin Ming did not dodge at all. He was no longer the same Lin Ming from before. He looked around indifferently and smiled at Winnie. The first time he met Winnie was on the way to Green Magic Academy to report. 3 years ago, the butler who escorted Winnie and his grandfather were once life and death companions. After meeting each other on the way, they accompanied each other. At that time, Winnie was still young. She kept asking Lin Ming to protect her when she was in school. Winnie smiled sweetly and held Lin Ming's arm. I'm a little hungry, let's go eat. I heard that a new top chef has arrived at Lavard Hotel. I'll treat you to a taste. After saying that, Winnie pouted and revealed a hungry look. Today, I'll treat you. Let's go. No, I'll treat you. Under everyone's astonished gazes, Lin Ming and Winnie slowly walked over. The most awkward person at the scene was none other than Melodion. Melodion's face turned green and white, and 3 black lines appeared on his forehead. When he heard Winnie say that she was hungry, he felt as if he had been struck by the lightning. He stood rooted to the ground, and it was in front of so many people. Melodion couldn't help but feel a wave of anger rise in his heart. Of course, this wave of anger wasn't directed at Winnie, it was directed at Lin Ming. Winnie's identity was special, so he couldn't take revenge on her. However, there was a huge gap between Lin Ming's identity and his. Lin Ming, you half-baked. Just you wait. Melodion's eyes lit up with a trace of anger. As he squeezed out a few words, he left while laughing. Lavard Hotel. This was a luxurious hotel built in the Magic Academy. After all, most of the students in the Magic Academy were aristocrats. It was extremely luxurious. There were many places for entertainment and consumption. Leeward Hotel was the most luxurious place among them. Lin Ming, order whatever you want to eat. My grandfather just gave me my living expenses. Winnie supported her chin with both hands, and looked at Lin Ming in a daze. Although Lin Ming's talent in cultivation was very poor, it had never affected his position in Winnie's heart. Every time she saw Lin Ming training hard, she made up her mind to protect Lin Ming for the rest of her life. So, she trained very hard. Looking at Winnie, Lin Ming smiled faintly. I haven't seen you for a few days. Why do I feel that you're becoming more and more silly? And, what have you been doing these few days? Why do I feel that you've changed a lot? I just can't point it out. Winnie kept feeling that Lin Ming was different from before. Especially those blue eyes, they seemed to be filled with energy. Lin Ming didn't say anything about the past few days. The two of them exchanged words one by one. Of course, their appearances attracted a lot of attention. Most of the male students looked at Lin Ming angrily. They couldn't help but feel envious in their hearts. What kind of luck do you think Lin Ming had in his past life to make Winnie treat him like this? Lin Ming's family is just an ordinary noble family. Even the Earl noble family can't beat him. Apart from being handsome, he has nothing. I really don't understand. A few noble descents were discussing in the distance. Some of them had confessed to Winnie. Their expressions were as if they had encountered an unsolved mystery. Hey, half-baked. Without Winnie's invitation, I'm afraid you can't even afford a glass of water from Lavard Hotel. A voice filled with anger shouted. Everyone in the hotel looked over. The person who shouted was Marlowe Devon, who had just been rejected by Winnie, and behind him were 2 companions. Tisk, 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 look, finally, someone can't take it anymore. Looks like that half-baked Lin Ming is going to suffer today. It's good for him to suffer. Let Winnie see his pathetic state. Many people looked at the furious Melodion and sighed. In their eyes, this matter was difficult to resolve. Of course, they were very happy to see Lin Ming suffer. Melodion, don't go overboard. Treating Lin Ming to a meal, is that in your way? Winnie's originally gentle gaze became extremely cold the moment she stood up, looking at how Winnie stood up for Lin Ming. Melodion felt even more aggrieved. If it wasn't for the school's rules, he would have torn Lin Ming to shreds. Lin Ming, can you show me your ability after 3 years of cultivation? Exclamation mark quote. Don't hide behind the girls. If you have the guts, follow me to the arena. If you lose, I'll give you your medical fees. If you win, I'll give you 10,000 gold coins. Melodion shouted. He only wanted to vent this anger in his heart. The so-called 10,000 gold coins were just a gimmick. He didn't have that much. Of course, he thought that Lin Ming only had 2 endings. One was to admit defeat on the spot, and the other was to be crippled by him. Melodion, fight me, Winnie said angrily. Then, she held Lin Ming's hand. Lin Ming, don't bother with him. Let's go. Just when everyone thought that Lin Ming was going to run away with his tail between his legs, Lin Ming rubbed Winnie's head with a smile on his face. After the life and death battle in the arena, his temperament was very steady. These words could no longer anger Lin Ming. Lin Ming held Winnie's hand and calmly walked towards Melodion. See you in the arena. The arena was the only place in the Green Magic Academy where they could exchange pointers. However, there were often all kinds of hate fights going on. In response to this, the teachers of the Magic Academy turned a deaf ear to it. Instead, they used the arena to increase the competition between the students. As long as no one was killed, it would be fine. Winnie didn't say anything. She looked at Lin Ming worriedly. Just now, when Lin Ming touched her hair, he told her to be at ease. Melodion became excited. Ha ha ha, alright, I'll see you in the arena. I've already prepared 10,000 gold coins. I'm waiting for you to come and take it. Melodion shouted loudly, as if he was announcing it. He wanted to let everyone in the academy know about this. Then, they could see how he would torture Lin Ming. Many people couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. With Lin Ming's strength, he was going to face the second-grade genius Melodion. Coupled with Melodion's raging anger, Lin Ming was doomed. In the arena, when Lin Ming and Winnie arrived, it was already packed with people. Many of them were high-tier mages. But they were not here to watch the so-called love-hate battle. They were here to see how monstrous the so-called second-grade genius was. Not long ago, Melodion narrowly defeated a Tier 3 mage. Because of this, he was called a genius. Of course, there were also female students who had come specially for Lin Ming. Regardless of strength and background, Lin Ming was the #1 campus beau in their hearts. We really hope that Lin Ming can defeat him. Sigh, but how can we not know Lin Ming's strength? Many girls could not help but sigh. How could they not hope that Lin Ming could defeat Melodion? But they had also seen Lin Ming's tiny flame before. After comforting Winnie, who was worried, Lin Ming calmly walked towards the arena. At this moment, countless boos came from the audience. Hurry up and admit defeat. I don't want the goddess to be sad when she sees you get injured. FCK, although we don't even have the qualifications to be a dog licker. I really admire your dog licker quote. Lin Ming is probably going to be crippled for this match. That's great, then I'll take his place. Many mocking voices were mixed together. However, under Winnie's cold gaze, these voices slowly disappeared. On the field, Melodion was fiddling with a water ball the size of an egg. The water ball kept changing shape in his hands. I reckon this water ball will be able to defeat you. But my goal is to turn you into a cripple. Melodion's eyes turned cold, and there was even a hint of killing intent mixed within. Seeing this, Winnie's hand had already started to gather her magic power. If Lin Ming was in danger, she could save him in the first instance. Those who had such similar thoughts were Lin Ming's many little fangirls. The others, they weren't worried at all. In fact, they were even more excited. In their opinion, the difference between Lin Ming's family and Melodion's family was huge. One was an ordinary noble, and the other was an aristocratic family. Even if Lin Ming died, with Melodion family's influence, there wouldn't be any big trouble. Cripple? Lin Ming nodded and smiled faintly. In his heart, he already knew the outcome of this match. That's right, since Melodion wanted to turn him into a cripple. Then, he wouldn't hold back either. Melodion looked at the extremely calm Lin Ming. His heart was filled with anger. The water ball in his hand grew bigger and bigger until it reached a diameter of 2 meters. Furthermore, the water ball instantly condensed into the shape of a huge axe. Water axe slash. Lin Ming, go to hell. Melodion roared angrily as the water axe rose into the sky and suddenly slashed down. This scene shocked everyone present. That's Melodion's ultimate skill. What kind of joke is this? He really wants to kill Lin Ming. He's crazy. No matter what, there's no need to kill. There was even a little fan of Lin Ming shouting hysterically. Lin Ming, run, run. Winnie condensed a wind blade in her hand. She stared at Lin Ming, completely unable to understand why Lin Ming was so calm. However, Winnie was already prepared. If Lin Ming was in danger, she would rescue him in an instant. The next moment, everyone was stunned. When the water axe was 5 meters away from Lin Ming, a ball of fire suddenly spurted out of his hand. Isn't Lin Ming a half-baked mage? How could he release such a powerful flame? Even a Tier 2 mage can't release that flame. How is that possible? He wasn't this powerful a while ago. Just as everyone was in shock, the flame in Lin Ming's hand turned into a 10-meter-long fire snake. Moreover, the fire snake was still expanding. Winnie was also stunned. Fire snake spell? Lin Ming, what exactly have you experienced during this period of time? She looked at the white-robed youth in shock. The wind blade in her hand slowly disappeared. She could feel that the power of the fire snake was extremely powerful. Even as a Tier 3 mage, she felt a trace of fear. How is this possible? This is absolutely impossible. Melodion saw the fire snake and could not help but tremble. His footsteps trembled as he retreated. Melodion's eyes were wide open as he watched, his heart filled with shock. The water axe in the air began to slowly disperse due to his distraction. Impossible, you're only half-baked. You don't even deserve to call Miss Winnie's name. Melodion roared, his eyes covered with bloodshot, his entire body bursting with magic power, and his long hair fluttering wildly under the impact of the magic power. At this moment, he was like a devil. Forbidden spell. Melodion's family's forbidden spell. He used this move to defeat the Tier 3 mage. So powerful. I feel that the magic power in his body has doubled. The students behind the field could not help but stand up and look over, exclaiming in surprise. Even the high-tier mages were frowning. They finally understood how Melodion defeated the Tier 3 mage. Many families had forbidden magic spells, but every time they cast it, it would consume the life force of the mage. None of them had expected that. Lin Ming, who had been training for 3 years and was only half-baked, could actually force Melodion to such an extent. Even if Lin Ming lost this match, he had won everyone's recognition. Lin Ming, be careful, Winnie shouted loudly. Then she looked at Melodion coldly, squeezing out a few words from the corner of her mouth. If you dare to hurt Lin Ming, I will definitely bury your entire family with you. Her family indeed had such strength. Melodion, who was in a state of madness, naturally did not feel Winnie's cold gaze. He looked at Lin Ming like a monster. He stretched out his hand and a wave connected the water axe together. The water axe in the air suddenly doubled in size. Lin Ming, I'm going to kill you. Melodion roared like a monster, as if he was announcing Lin Ming's death. Kill me? Lin Ming smiled faintly and waved his hand lightly. The fire snake that was dozens of meters in the air suddenly charged towards Melodion. Bang! The fire and water met. A powerful impact erupted. For a moment, 2 waves of energy spread across the field and covered the entire arena. The heat wave and water droplets scattered. How can this be a battle between the Tier 2 mages? As a Tier 3 mage, I'm actually a little afraid. Lin Ming might really die. Melodion is indeed a genius mage. It won't be long before he becomes a Tier 3 mage. The high-tier mages on the field couldn't help but praise. From their point of view, that kind of magic power that made them fear must have come from Melodion's hands. Winnie was extremely anxious, but she didn't make a move. She used the wind magic to sense Lin Ming's state of life. Her originally anxious face became terrified. To withstand such a powerful magic attack, no matter what, Lin Ming's state of life would change. But, even if the energy on the field was unbridled, Lin Ming's state of life didn't change at all. The next moment, with a bang, the 2 wave of energy suddenly disappeared. On the platform, the indestructible ground was covered with cracks. Melodion was lying weakly on the ground. Hot blood gushed out from the corner of his mouth and spread along the cracks. Slowly, it was left in front of Lin Ming. At this moment, Lin Ming had his hands behind his back, as if nothing had happened. His gaze was unusually calm. For a moment, the entire stadium was silent. Everyone was dumbstruck. They couldn't imagine that the half-baked Lin Ming had actually defeated the second-grade genius Melodion. And it was a complete victory. It was a crushing victory. It was a massacre. Lin Ming, is this Lin Ming? It seems to be him, but it doesn't seem to be him either. Could it be that he's been hiding himself? That's not right. I saw him cultivating a small flame in the back mountain a few days ago. But after not seeing him for a few days, how did the small flame become a fire snake? After a long time, everyone was trembling in shock. Everyone's faces seemed to be drawn from the same mold. It was unbelievable. I have liked you for 3 years. I firmly believe that you will succeed. So handsome, so handsome. I feel that he is shining with golden light. The little fangirls who were originally worried shouted Lin Ming's name at the same time. Winnie's little eyebrows were tightly furrowed. The corner of her mouth was muttering, Lin Ming, you've really changed. Looking at the field again, Melodion supported his body in great pain. His eyes were trembling in his eye sockets. At the moment when the energy burst out, he could see everything clearly from within. Lin Ming was like a god, calmly standing where he was, as if he had nothing to do with him. Lin Ming was completely different from him, who was trying his best to control the magic. Finally, Melodion's body withered, the muscles on his face twitched, and his eyes no longer had the same spiritual energy as before. Becoming extremely empty, Lin Ming has no intention of killing him. Judging from the current state of Melodion, he wouldn't be able to recover completely in a few years. And killing people in public at school would bring unnecessary trouble to himself. Most importantly, Melodion promised to give Lin Ming 10,000 gold coins if he lost. Killing Melodion, then who should he ask the 10,000 gold coins from? Later, Lin Ming walked out of the arena with Winnie, leaving everyone in shock and envy. A few days later, almost everyone in the Magic Academy had heard about the news, which the second-grade genius Melodion had suffered, a crushing defeat at the hands of Lin Ming. During this period, Melodion paid Lin Ming 10,000 gold coins and directly suspended his studies. His body condition, without 2 to 3 years of rest, he could not cultivate at all. Regarding this, Melodion's family was furious. They even brought several high-tier mages to look for Lin Ming to take revenge. The school only told Lin Ming not to go out to protect his safety. Finally, in her anger, Winnie told her grandfather the news. She said that someone from the school bullied her, and Lin Ming injured the person on the opposite side to protect her. The old man directly taught Melodion's family a lesson. Afterwards, they even gave Lin Ming 20,000 gold coins to express their gratitude. In the library, after settling the recent trivial matters, Lin Ming calmed a lot. He began to seriously study the art of alchemy. The alchemy manual given by Ernest was very unique. It recorded the art of alchemy on all kinds of spiritual herbs and elixirs, ranging from the minor injuries to the major injuries to the marrow cleansing pill. It was very comprehensive. However, the requirements for alchemy were very high. Not only did it need to be supported by powerful magic power, it also needed all kinds of mystical medicinal ingredients. Lin Ming's brows slightly twitched. He was prepared to choose a spiritual herb that was suitable for him to practice first. Looking at Lin Ming, who was a little hesitant, Winnie, who was sitting at the side, couldn't help but say, "Lin Ming, you want to become an alchemist?" Lin Ming nodded in affirmation. In this world, there were many alchemists. However, only a few people stood at the top of the pyramid. Moreover, if one wanted to become a high-tier alchemist, the necessary condition was to know how to use magic. This was because high-tier spiritual herbs could only be refined through adjusting the elemental factors. Therefore, ordinary spiritual herbs like magic power recovery potion were only worth a few thousand silver coins. But high-tier spiritual herbs were worth tens of thousands of gold coins. Some spiritual herbs were even difficult to buy, even if one had the money. Lin Ming's response was received. Winnie firmly believed, "Lin Ming, you will definitely succeed." Lin Ming smiled. Then, he stared at the alchemy manual. Healing potion, tier 2 spiritual herb. It could recover minor injuries in a short time. Even if one's bones and tendons were torn, they could recover within a few days. Looking at the refining method, the skill panel in Lin Ming's mind also appeared. There was an additional skill on it, healing potion refining method. Looking at the plus sign that appeared later, Lin Ming was overjoyed. As expected, his guess was right. The skill panel could also level up the alchemy skill. Ding, your healing potion refining skill proficiency has been increased. Current level is beginner, level 1. Ding, your healing potion proficiency has increased. Your current level is beginner, level 2. After 2 hits, Lin Ming stopped his operation. Refining this kind of medicine would also consume magic power. After all, he had never tried before, so he did not dare to raise it too high. A moment later, he closed the book in satisfaction and looked at the time. It was almost time. Lin Ming said softly, "I promised to accompany you to class this afternoon. It's almost time. Let's go." Soon, Winnie pulled Lin Ming to the Wind Faculty building. With a blissful expression, under the envious gazes of many people, the two of them walked into Winnie's class. The Magic Academy was divided into earth, wind, water, fire, thunder and lightning, darkness, and light different houses. Each faculty had 5 grades, corresponding to 5 tiers. The current Lin Ming was still in the first grade. After all, in the past 3 years, his magic level had never risen. But Winnie was different. In the past 3 years, she didn't just advance once a year. She was also one of the best in the same grade. Soon, it would be the grade examination. Lin Ming made up his mind to become a tier 3 mage at that time. Sitting in the classroom, the combination of the two attracted everyone's attention. Even the teacher in the classroom couldn't help but look at Lin Ming and Winnie. After all, during this period of time, the whole school was talking about Lin Ming. "Lin Ming, are you also interested in wind magic?" On the stage, the teacher named Phil poked his glasses and asked very amiably. "Ah, right." Lin Ming hurriedly nodded in response. He had originally come to accompany Winnie. Just now, He had been thinking about refining the spiritual herbs. Listen carefully, maybe you'll become a dual-element mage too, Phil said with a faint smile. Then he began to explain his lesson. Dual-element mage? Lin Ming thought about it. There were indeed many dual-element, or even three-element mages among mages. In other words, they could practice several other types of magic. Even so, there were also a few dual-element mages in the Green Magic Academy. However, on the day he entered the academy, Lin Ming had tested that he could only perceive the fire element. In other words, he was only a single-element mage. Looking at Lin Ming, who was deep in thought, Winnie hissed. Teacher Phil once said that there are some strange ways to awaken dual elements. Strange ways? That's right, however I'm not too sure. And Lin Ming, don't worry, I'll definitely ask my grandfather about this. He'll definitely have a way. Winnie pouted her small mouth and patted her chest with certainty as she promised. Listen to the lesson carefully. Lin Ming deliberately frowned to scare Winnie. Winnie quickly entered the learning state. Lin Ming was not in a hurry to become a dual-element mage. What he needed to do now was to increase his strength as soon as possible. If he could not become a Tier 4 mage a few months later, then his identity as a noble would be stripped away. The next day, Lin Ming came to an empty place. He arranged the items needed for alchemy and prepared to start refining the healing potion. He didn't dare to be careless the first time he refined it. Of course, all the items needed to refine the potion were sent over by Ernest through the request of Lin Ming. After all, Ernest was in the black market, so it was very convenient to collect all kinds of things. However, Lin Ming looked down on Ernest a little. The news had just been sent over, and not long after, Ernest got someone to send the items over. Moreover, all the items were doubled in quantity. The alchemy began. Lin Ming transferred the magic power in his body and began to extract the spiritual power from the various herbs. Soon, the first bottle of healing potion was refined. I didn't expect it to be so easy. Lin Ming was overjoyed. He thought it would be very troublesome to refine. But the refining process just now cost very little magic power. Looking at the healing potion in his hand, the joy on Lin Ming's face faded, and he muttered with dissatisfaction. Although it's Tier 2, the quality is not high. Ding, your healing potion proficiency has been increased. Current level is Master, level 3. Ding, your healing potion proficiency has been increased. Current level is Master, level 4. After leveling up twice, Lin Ming began to refine again. After all, the herbs that Ernest had sent over could not be wasted. A moment later, Lin Ming finally stopped, exhausted. After taking the magic power recovery potion, he stood up and looked at the 10 bottles of healing potion that he had refined with satisfaction. It should be able to sell a lot of money. After putting away the 10 bottles of potion, Lin Ming prepared to head over to the black market. The black market, the underground fighting arena. Lin Ming sat in the VIP box, drinking tea and watching the bloody fight below. He was no longer a fighter. He was the manager of the arena. A moment later, the beautiful and moving Ernest Lin walked in. However, her outfit today was a little different. She was wearing a black tights that wrapped around her slim waist. Just one look was enough to make one's soul tremble. Lin Ming couldn't help but size her up from her feet to her head. I just went out to do something. Ernest placed her small knife that was emitting a chill on the table and explained, even though there wasn't a drop of blood on the small knife. But Lin Ming smelt the smell of fresh human blood on it. And it wasn't just one person. You call this doing something? You clearly killed a few people. After his shock, Lin Ming took out 10 bottles of medicine and placed them on the table. These are the medicines I refined. Help me send them to the auction and sell them. He had let Ernest Lin go because she had the privilege of being a member of the auction. She could let the herbs be auctioned on the same day. Lin Ming didn't want to appear in public on such an occasion either. The medicines you refined? Ernest Lin picked up a bottle and sized it up in doubt. Very soon, she looked at Lin Ming in surprise. She naturally recognized the medicine in her hand. It was the healing potion. After thinking carefully, the various medicinal ingredients that Lin Ming asked her for were completely the medicinal ingredients needed for the healing potion. At this moment, she firmly believed it. Looking at the several bottles of healing potion, she was even more shocked. It had only been half a day and Lin Ming had already refined so many? Ernest Lin had known a few alchemists. She once asked one of the Tier 2 alchemists to refine a bottle of tier 2 spiritual herbs for her. That fellow had used an entire day to refine that one bottle. And Lin Ming had refined 10 bottles of tier 2 spiritual medicine in half a day. He had just broken through to become a tier 2 mage a few days ago. Shock, incomparable shock. Very soon, Ernest Lin became excited. Looking at the handsome and fair Lin Ming, she sighed in her heart. Letting him join the fighting arena is as if I really took in a big treasure. For a moment, Ernest couldn't help but hug Lin Ming. A deep red lipstick mark was left on Lin Ming's face. She said firmly, "Lin Ming, don't worry, I'll definitely sell them at a good price for you. Wait here, I'll go to the auction right now." If the other managers of the fighting arena saw this scene, they would probably be scared out of their wits. Who was Ernest Lin? That was a woman that made all men fear her. Who would believe that she would take the initiative to kiss a man? Of course, if they saw it, they would also be extremely envious of Lin Ming. Many people dreamed of being kissed by Ernest Lin. And some people were even willing to die for it. Seeing Ernest Lin left in a hurry with the spiritual medicines, Lin Ming also came back to his senses. The burning sensation on his cheeks had not faded. The black market, Black Norland auction. Ernest Lin, who had changed into a gorgeous outfit. She sat in the VIP box, waiting for the senior appraiser at the auction. Ordinary people had to make an appointment in advance to come here to appraise. It was even more difficult to meet a senior appraiser. As a top-tier member, it was much more convenient for Ernest Lin. She only needed to tell them. They were already in the same black market, so they knew each other. Soon, an old man with a hunched back and a little malnutrition walked in. As soon as he came in, he laughed and said, "Miss Ernest Lin, it's my honor to be invited by you." "Jiniro, don't talk nonsense. Look at these bottles of spiritual herbs. And give me a price as soon as possible." Ernest didn't look nice and continued to say coldly. This old man was incomparably strange, otherwise, he wouldn't have looked like he was malnourished. Okay, Jiniro hurriedly replied. He didn't dare to joke with this female devil. After all, she was a tier 6 assassin. Who knew, one day, he would die. He still wanted to live for another 2 years. Soon, Jiniro began to observe the spiritual medicines. When he opened the bottle, his originally relaxed face furrowed tightly. "Miss Ernest, who refined this spiritual medicine?" Looking at Jiniro's expression, Ernest asked in puzzlement. "This was refined by a little brother of mine. Could it be that the quality isn't high enough?" Although she recognized the healing potion, but she could not determine its quality. Hearing this, Jiniro was very puzzled. It was not strange that Ernest knew an alchemist. But to be able to refine a tier 2 spiritual medicine to such a quality, it was at least a tier 4 alchemist, or even higher. But an alchemist of this level basically would not refine a tier 2 spiritual medicine. Jiniro clicked his tongue and said, "This is something that can only be refined by a tier 4 alchemist at the very least. Your little brother is a little strange. Can you introduce him to me?" If it was really what Ernest said, this medicine was refined by a little brother. He really wanted to get to know him. A person with such talent was definitely from an alchemist family. To be able to have a relationship with such a person was also a great blessing. A tier 4 alchemist. How is that possible? Ernest could not help but exclaim. Lin Ming was only a tier 2 mage. It was absolutely impossible for him to be a tier 4 mage. However, the expectant look in Jiniro's eyes definitely did not seem to be a lie. This made Ernest secretly think that the magic strength that Lin Ming displayed was also beyond expectations. Could it be that his alchemy skills were also like this? Looking at Ernest's thoughtful expression, Jiniro softly asked, "Ernest, can you recommend him to me? I'm willing to offer a lot of rewards. Indeed, being able to get to know such a young genius, it would greatly benefit." "Recommend?" Ernest's gaze turned cold. "Quickly arrange the auction for the medicines. There's no need for recommendation. It's not convenient." She rejected it very decisively. Lin Ming was someone she had found with great difficulty. How could she let such a crafty old fellow know such a talented genius? She was rejected. Jiniro shook the head in disappointment. An ordinary tier 2 spiritual medicine can be sold for 25 gold coins. But the quality of this spiritual medicine is very good. Its efficacy is probably comparable to a tier 3 spiritual medicine. Let's set it at a starting bid of 100 gold coins. What do you think? Ernest nodded without hesitation, as soon as possible. This money was not important to her. She kept thinking about Lin Ming's terrifying talent. That kind of talent that far surpassed those of the same tier. A moment later, Ernest received more than 2,600 gold coins from the auction. She immediately took out her own money and pooled it up. She had raised 4,000 gold coins. On the other hand, Lin Ming was sitting in the VIP box of the fighting arena. He was chatting with two elders from the management. From their conversation, Lin Ming also knew that the two of them were called Boaz and Guy Newman. When he left the fighting arena, he was in a hurry. Therefore, he didn't know much about the two of them. Lin Ming, are you saying that Lady Ernest went to sell the spiritual medicines that you refined? Boaz asked with some doubt. Just now, the two of them also learned that this was Lin Ming's first time refining medicines. In his opinion, Lin Ming, who had just become a Tier 2 mage, could not refine any good spiritual medicines. It was not that he underestimated Lin Ming. Which alchemist did not succeed after years of hard work and countless failures? Lin Ming nodded. His gaze remained fixated on the fiery match below. However, Boaz and Guy Newman looked at Lin Ming in disbelief. After that, the two of them looked at each other. They revealed an extremely envious expression. They had never received such treatment. After following Ernest Lin for so many years, the only feeling that Ernest Lin gave them was icy cold. Coldness, making Ernest work for them? They had never even thought of such an idea. Perhaps Lin Ming was the only person in the world who could make Ernest do this. Just as the two of them were shocked and envious, that cold figure walked in. The two of them quickly stood up to welcome Lady Ernest. Ernest ignored the two of them. Instead, she said to Lin Ming with a smile, sold for 4,000 gold coins. 4,000 gold coins? Lin Ming was a little surprised. He had originally wanted to test whether he could pass the spiritual medicine training. However, he did not expect it to be sold for 4,000 gold coins. When they heard 4,000 gold coins, Boaz and Guy Newman were stunned. In the previous discussion, they also knew that Lin Ming had refined 10 bottles. In this way, each bottle was worth 400 gold coins? What kind of joke was this? A spiritual medicine worth 400 gold coins. That was a Tier 3 spiritual medicine. Lin Ming refined it? He is only a Tier 2 mage, but the two of them knew very well that Lady Ernest would never lie. Looking at Ernest, who was smiling at Lin Ming, but was very cold to the two of them. Suddenly, the two of them understood. A great realization, a genius among geniuses like Lin Ming. No wonder Ernest would smile at him. No wonder Ernest would sell medicines for him. No wonder Ernest would be extremely cold to the two of them. Compared to Lin Ming, as Tier 4 warriors who had cultivated for decades, they didn't seem to have the qualifications to make Lady Ernest smile. 4,000 gold coins, take it first. In the future, I still need your help to buy medicinal ingredients and herbs for me. Lin Ming said to Ernest with a smile. He wasn't someone who would take things for free. There were still many things that he needed Ernest's help with in the future. Now that you're also a member of the fighting arena, there's no need to be so polite. If you need anything in the future, just let me know. Treat us as a family. Ernest handed the magic crystal card back to Lin Ming. To her, money didn't matter anymore. Ernest wasn't a member of the Yan Lan dukedom. She came here to build a fighting arena just to take revenge. Over the years, she had been looking for talented people to nurture them. Lin Ming was one of them. However, after interacting with Lin Ming more, Ernest found that Lin Ming was very similar to her younger brother. This was also one of the reasons why she treated Lin Ming differently from others. It made her want to protect him. She just wanted Lin Ming to mature quickly. Okay. Lin Ming narrowed his eyes and smiled. His heart immediately felt warm. Yes, we're a family. Boaz and Guy Newman agreed bitterly. What family? After following Ernest for so many years, how come they had never experienced the treatment of a family? Of course, they also didn't know about Ernest's background. They also didn't know that this woman's heart was already as cold as ice. Only Lin Ming could make her reveal a trace of warmth. In a few days, we'll prepare to make a trip to the mountain range of magical beasts. When the time comes, you can come and help too. Ernest invited. She had already decided on this matter long ago. The fighting arena was only on the surface. Behind it was the adventurer team she had established. She had invited Lin Ming to train his strength. Mountain range of magical beasts? According to Lin Ming's knowledge, the mountain range of magical beasts was extremely huge. The mountain range ran through the entire continent, connecting many countries and powers. It was extremely dangerous. Even Sage Realm experts didn't dare to rashly enter the central region. Of course, where there was danger, there would be benefits. Entering the central region wouldn't only help the professionals gain experience points. If they could kill the magical beasts and obtain their magical cores, they would be able to earn a considerable amount of income. Because of this, many adventurer teams were born in this world. They specialized in hunting magical cores in exchange for benefits. Just inform me when the time comes. Lin Ming answered very calmly. He was also very eager to gain experience. After all, the great examination was in a few months. Before that, he had to break through to become a tier 4 mage. Even if it was dangerous, he was willing to give it a try. Because Lin Ming also understood that flowers in a greenhouse would never grow. Okay, I'll let you know in a while, Ernest said. Even if she was a tier 6 assassin, she still had to make good preparations to enter the mountain range of magical beasts. Also, the lipstick on your face hasn't been wiped clean yet. After saying that, Ernest smiled and left, leaving behind the stunned faces of Boaz and Guy Newman. Lipstick? What was going on? Could it be that it was from Lady Ernest? The two of them were extremely shocked. They turned their heads stiffly like machines and looked at Lin Ming. There was indeed a faint red mark on his face. One could vaguely tell that it was a hickey. Lin Ming, tell us properly. What exactly happened? Yes, tell us quickly. The aged Boaz and Guy Newman's eyes were as hot as the eyes of a 17 or 18-year-old youth. Nothing, Lin Ming explained a little helplessly. He hurriedly wiped off the red mark on his face. Fortunately, Ernest reminded him. Otherwise, if he walked out with a lipstick mark on his face, he would be embarrassed to death. Most importantly, if Winnie saw him. Even if he had a mouth, it would be hard to explain. Seeing that Lin Ming didn't answer, Boaz and Guy Newman became even more anxious. Our good brother Lin Ming, tell us if there's anything in the future. We brothers will do our best to help you. After a wry smile at the two, Lin Ming left in a hurry, arriving at the entrance of the black market in a hurry. There were horse carriages parked nearby. Some of the horses were decorated with gold and silver, and there were special signs or imprints on them. They looked magnificent. Some of them were more ordinary. Soon, an old horsekeeper with a crippled leg walked toward Lin Ming excitedly. Young man, where are you going? Then, he patted his own chest and said, Don't worry, my price is definitely the most reasonable here. Looking at the old horsekeeper with a crippled leg, Lin Ming replied, The Green Magic Academy. Hearing this, the old horsekeeper hurriedly invited. It's a half-hour journey. I'll charge you 25 silver coins. Lin Ming had walked the road from the Magic Academy to the black market many times. Each time, it would take an hour. This was under the condition that there was no delay on the road. He looked at the horsekeeper with some confusion. Half an hour? Seeing this, the old horsekeeper showed a trace of pride. Young man, don't worry. How can I lie at my age? Although I'm limping, my horse is the fastest horse in the entire black market. There's no one like me. Lin Ming didn't ask any more questions. Following, the old horsekeeper walked to the place where the carriage was parked. The magnificent carriage before was a private carriage. The carriage that Lin Ming was in was specially here to pull customers. Sitting in the carriage, Lin Ming felt depressed. Others' horses were as tall and mighty as their owners. But the old man's horse could only be said to be a little bigger than the newborn calf. It even had one eye that was blind. I finally understand why you ran to the front to get customers. Lin Ming smiled helplessly and teased. Since he had already sat on it, he was too lazy to change. The old horsekeeper did not respond. He skillfully placed the crutch on the carriage and suddenly jumped to sit in front of the carriage. A hint of a smile appeared on his wrinkled face. You just wait and see. Suddenly, the carriage shook. It rushed forward at an extremely fast speed. This also made Lin Ming extremely surprised. After a moment, through the communication between the two, Lin Ming also learned about the identity of the old man. When he was young, he was a tier 4 warrior. When he joined the adventurer team and entered the mountain range of magical beasts, he was attacked by the magical beasts. He fell into incurable injuries and could only rely on the pony with a trace of magical beast blood in its body to maintain the life of his entire family. Is the mountain range of magical beasts really so terrifying? Lin Ming frowned slightly, although he had long known about the mountain range of magical beasts. He had never been there and could never understand the dangers. Hearing Lin Ming's words, the old man's originally relaxed brows furrowed slightly, and his eyes became hollow. He stopped what he was doing and said, "If you give me another chance, I will never enter again." But the old man's words came to an abrupt end. The pony, who was originally running at an extremely fast speed, seemed to have lost its strength as its legs went limp. The carriage lost its balance and flipped over. With great speed, Lin Ming picked up the old horsekeeper and rushed out of the tumbling carriage. For a moment, both of them were extremely puzzled. The old horsekeeper looked at the limp pony in disbelief. At this moment, a dragon's roar resounded through the heaven and earth, and the sound waves reverberated. The gravel on the ground kept jumping, and the broken carriage was broken into pieces. Even the pony, whose eyes were red, spurted out blood. Lin Ming hurriedly used his magic power to protect his meridians. Cold sweat broke out on the old horsekeeper's forehead. After all, he used to be a tier 4 warrior, and he also used his own method to protect his body. The two followed the voice and looked up. Suddenly, they saw an ice dragon that was at least 100 meters long, winding in the air not far to the east. The eyes of the ice dragon were like huge holes of ice, and its entire body was covered in ice-like scales that flickered with a chilling light. Every time its pair of huge ice crystal wings flapped, waves of cold waves would rush over. The magical beast, Ice Dragon. The Ice Dragon was one of the most powerful magical beasts, mostly of the Tier 9 experts. There were even some powerful experts who had broken through to the Sage realm. This is Lord Hill's magical beast. The old horsekeeper pointed at the Ice Dragon in the air and cried out in alarm. He finally understood why his little horse had suddenly become limp. It was because of the pressure of the Ice Dragon. The pressure from the bloodline. Lord Hill? That was the only Sage Realm mage in the Yanlan Dukedom. He was extremely powerful, and his status was incomparably lofty. Even the king of the Yanlan Dukedom had to kneel before him when he sees him. A magical beast like this would definitely not run out recklessly. After all, with such powerful strength, even the slightest anger would cause a terrifying disaster. Sure enough, Lin Ming looked over carefully. He saw a white-robed old man standing proudly on the back of the dragon. The wind in the air was raging, and the white robe fluttered in the air. Even his white beard was fluttering in the wind. His entire body was emitting the pressure of a superior, and his gaze was staring intently into the distance. A black-robed man holding a pleated golden sword was standing opposite Lord Hill. The sword in his hand, as if containing the power of the starry sky, emitted a terrifying power. Even though they were so far apart, Lin Ming couldn't help but feel a trace of fear. The two of them stood in mid-air. A Tier 7 wind mage could rely on magic skills to achieve the goal of flying. As for other professionals, they had to reach the Sage Realm in order to have such a long-standing and empty means. From the sword in the black-robed man's hand, it was not difficult to see that he was a swordsman, a Sage Realm warrior, and the white-robed old man's identity was even more obvious. Sage Realm Mage Hill. Is this a Sage Realm expert? Lin Ming was extremely shocked. This was the first time he had seen a Sage Realm expert. As a Tier 2 mage, he could feel that extremely dangerous power, even though the two of them were 100 meters apart in the air. Lin Ming could still feel the terrifying, killing intent emanating from them. It seemed like there was some sort of conflict between them. The old horsekeeper beside him stared blankly at the sky, and his entire body could not help but tremble. Right at this moment, the ice dragon in midair let out a furious roar, and a cold wave gushed out from its mouth. It was mixed with countless ice shards that were like sharp arrows as it charged towards the black-robed man. Even though they were a few hundred meters apart, Lin Ming could already feel the surrounding air instantly turn cold. That kind of powerful strength was not something that the current him could compare to. In the air, the black-robed man suddenly swung the golden sword in his hand. A streak of golden light mixed with incomparably vast sword energy, scattered in all directions, instantly shattering the ice dragon's attack. He roared furiously, "Hill, don't force me. Even if we fight to death, you won't be any better." This roar woke up the old horsekeeper. He quickly got up and pulled Lin Ming up. "Quickly hide, they're going to fight." At this moment, although his legs were limping, they were very agile. Even an ordinary strong man wouldn't be able to catch up. Lin Ming didn't hesitate. He immediately rushed towards a huge boulder. In the distance, a battle between Sage Realm experts. Even a burst of power could destroy a small town. It was terrifying. Even a Tier 7 warrior with a powerful physical body would be reduced to nothingness in a battle between Sage Realm experts. In the blink of an eye. Soon, the two of them found a place to protect themselves. In the next moment, Hill, who was in the air, laughed coldly. Caesar, you must know that a dead fish won't come back to life. But a broken net can still be mended. I'll remember that it's not easy for you to cultivate for 100 years. Hand over the little dragon and I'll let you live. A powerful magic power burst out from Hill's body. The magic power condensed into water at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a moment, water pillars with a diameter of dozens of meters appeared beside him. Compared to the water axe that Lin Ming had fought before, it could be considered the difference between a small stream and a vast ocean. That's Lord Hill's forbidden spell, 10 pillars supporting sky. Every water pillar contains the power to destroy mountains and rivers. It's extremely terrifying. The old horsekeeper was extremely shocked. As a Tier 4 warrior, he naturally recognized this move, even though he had experienced countless life and death battles. At this moment, he could not help but feel extremely terrified. He looked at Lin Ming again. His brows were tightly furrowed. His eyes were powerful as he stared sharply at the experts in the sky. There was not a trace of fear in his heart. Instead, it was filled with passion and blood boiling. He yearned for that kind of powerful strength. The old horsekeeper looked at Lin Ming's condition in disbelief. Previously, during the discussion, he had also learned that Lin Ming was a young mage. Even a Tier 5 mage would not be able to maintain their rationality when they felt the pressure of a ruler of the world. Just like him, they could not help but feel a trace of fear. But why was the young man in front of him so calm? This kind of strong mental quality made the old horsekeeper admire Lin Ming. He looked up into the sky again. Caesar, the black-robed swordsman, saw Hill's 10 pillars did not turn around and escape. Suddenly, a young dragon with a tender body appeared in his hand. It looked different from the ice dragon under Hill's feet. It had 4 legs and 2 horns. Its body was long and slender, and its 2 whiskers were swaying non-stop. Caesar sneered, "Isn't it all for this little dragon? Do you think I'll give you something that I can't get with my bare hands?" Wishful thinking. Seeing Caesar's actions, Hill, who was originally aggressive, quickly tried to dissuade him. "If you have anything to say, say it nicely. If you hurt that dragon, I won't let you off even if I have to go to the ends of the earth." Ridiculous. Caesar laughed maniacally, and the power in his hands began to gather. The small dragon in his hands continuously twisted its body. Its 4 legs began to slowly disappear, and even the dragon horn on its head disappeared. Seeing this situation, Hill controlled the water pillars. 10 huge water pillars turned into trident-shaped weapons, and suddenly charged forward. A cold light flashed in Caesar's eyes, and his aura suddenly rose. It was like an invisible sword. The sword slashed down, it turned into rays of golden sword light and met the attack. The 2 attacks met. The world suddenly shook. Even the thick clouds in the sky instantly disappeared. Bang! Waves rose in the sky, and they flew down like the Milky Way. There was a faint golden light mixed in them. "I've destroyed the dragon's bloodline. Hill, I'll give it to you. You don't have to thank me." Caesar threw the dragon in his hand away and disappeared into the sky. At this moment, the little dragon turned into the appearance of a green snake. It fell from the sky with its last breath. Of course, Lin Ming, who was far away, only heard the conversation between the two. So he naturally couldn't see the little dragon. Hill stared at it, his eyes dimmed. "If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have held back just now." Although all sorts of complicated methods could restore the bloodline of the dragon that had been destroyed. But the dragon's 4 legs and 2 horns had been worn away. It wouldn't be long before it died. It was no longer of any use to Hill. Looking at Caesar who had disappeared, Hill waved his hand and stopped the rolling waves. He disappeared into Lin Ming's eyes. Seeing the two of them leave, the old horsekeeper gasped for breath, as if he had just walked on the edge of hell. Phew, I was really lucky not to die today. On the other hand, Lin Ming's eyes were shining even brighter. He was even more fascinated by the power that could topple mountains and overturn seas. One day, I will become a sage. Just as the two of them were sighing, A green figure scuttled into the broken carriage. Inside was Lin Ming's storage bag. He had forgotten to take it out, because of the urgency of the matter just now. There were several bottles of magic power recovery potions in the storage bag, but at this moment, they were being crazily absorbed by the little green snake, and its vitality was gradually recovering. Even the Sage Realm Mage Hill had never thought that such a large cub would have such strong vitality and willpower. He also didn't know that there was a mysterious power in the dragon's body. That power was in danger. It sealed its bloodline and turned it into a snake. Of course, Caesar also didn't expect that. The two of them had underestimated the dragon and its entire family. Lin Ming also didn't know that a small snake had gone into his storage bag. At night, Lin Ming had just arrived at the school. When he walked to the dormitory building, he found a woman with a graceful figure walking anxiously downstairs. Winnie? Lin Ming recognized the woman's appearance. Suddenly, Winnie looked over. As a wind mage, even if she didn't use magic, her perceptive ability was different from ordinary people. After all, in the entire magic department, wind mages had the strongest perception. Lin Ming. Winnie felt a familiar feeling and quickly ran over. She hugged Lin Ming, looking at Winnie's anxious expression that hadn't faded. Lin Ming was confused. What happened? You really worried me to death. Winnie let go of Lin Ming and pouted her little mouth, looking very angry. Lin Ming rubbed his head out of habit. My body is very healthy. What's there to worry about? I don't know what the two Sage Realm experts are fighting for today, but they're making a big move. The entire school, and even the entire city, saw it. I'm afraid that something might happen to you. Winnie's voice softened. She saw the waves that filled the sky, rushing down to the ground. Although the Sage Realm Mage had taken them back, they had caused quite a bit of damage to the nearby towns. And Lin Ming had disappeared for an entire day. She hadn't been able to see him. She was afraid that he would encounter any danger. I saw it. I was very, very far away at that time. Lin Ming comforted her. Naturally, he didn't tell her that he was actually less than a kilometer away from that battle. During their conversation, Lin Ming also learned about this matter, which attracted the attention of the entire school. While the two were fighting, the school locked all the students in the teaching building and dormitory. After sending Winnie back, Lin Ming returned to the dormitory. The three roommates inside were all first-year freshmen. The school's rule was that students of the same grade lived together. This also made Lin Ming change his roommates once a year. Damn, boss, you're finally back. We haven't seen you for half a day. You've made us all worried to death. I see Miss Winnie is still waiting for you down there. Seeing Lin Ming arrive, the few of them began to speak one by one. Their sincere expressions also meant that they were not lying. Lin Ming was rather unfamiliar with them. He often cultivated alone, so their relationship was rather ordinary. However, they were also very loyal men. They had never spoken ill of Lin Ming like others. Among them, Maud, because the dormitory next door said that Lin Ming was a dabbler. He had fought with them. Ever since Lin Ming had defeated Melodion, the entire dormitory had treated him as their big brother. It's nothing. Why aren't you guys sleeping? Are you guys training hard? You guys are all tier 2 mages now. Lin Ming teased. His roommates were also extremely talented and had already become tier 2 mages. They were just waiting for the grade examination to raise them to the second grade. I can't sleep. The battle in the afternoon was so terrifying that I was scared silly. Even now, my heartbeat isn't normal. Sigh, especially the last attack. The pressure that erupted was so strong that I wanted to get down on my knees. Our dormitory is still pretty good. I heard that someone really got down on their knees next door. The few of them discussed one after another. Even though they were so far away, they could still feel the terrifying pressure. They didn't dare to imagine how terrifying it would be to watch from the side. Get down on their knees? Lin Ming was a little puzzled. He had also felt such a powerful pressure. He did not feel like getting down on his knees. He only felt that the hot blood in his body seemed to be burning up. The next day, Lin Ming carefully observed the secret manual in his hand, at the place where he refined the potion the last time. Beside him were the medicinal herbs that Ernest had sent over. He was already very familiar with the healing potion. He was ready to start cultivating another one. However, it wasn't a spiritual medicine, but a poison that targeted magical beasts. This poison emitted a fishy smell, and those low-tier magical beasts without spiritual sense had no resistance against it. Tier 2 poison, rotten heartpill. After all, they would be entering the mountain range of magical beasts soon. Lin Ming felt that he had to make some preparations in case he needed them. Lin Ming had already memorized the skill of making rotten heartpill, and the system panel in his mind already had its name. Ding, your rotten heartpill refining skill proficiency has increased. Current level is beginner, level 1. Ding, your rotten heartpill proficiency has increased. Current level is beginner, level 2. After 2 consecutive hits, Lin Ming stopped leveling up, because what he needed this time was not quality, but quantity. He just needed to be able to help him escape when he was in danger. After taking a deep breath, Lin Ming closed his eyes tightly and mobilized all the magic power in his body to interflow with the medicinal herbs. The refining began. A moment later, Lin Ming's head was covered in sweat. He was very tired. However, there was a satisfied smile on the corner of his mouth. Just now, he had refined dozens of the rotten heartpills in one breath, and did not stop at all. He also did not carry out magic recovery. At this time, the magic power in his body was about to be exhausted. Lin Ming stretched his hand into the storage bag with a relaxed expression. The next moment, his face turned slightly pale. A trace of scalding heat came from his hand. Lin Ming hurriedly untied the storage bag and flipped it a few times. He saw a small green snake and several empty bottles. Snake? How could it be? The palm of his hand clearly felt warm just now. Lin Ming was extremely puzzled. Snakes were cold-blooded animals. How could the temperature of its body be so hot? Also, where did my magic power recovery potions go? Time seemed to have stopped. The man and the snake looked at each other. After sensing that Lin Ming had no malicious intent, the small snake coiled towards the bottle. With only a few drops of magic recovery potion, it stretched out its long snake tongue and sucked. Its body twisted comfortably, as if it was extremely satisfied with the taste. Seeing this scene, Lin Ming was even more confused after coming to a sudden realization. Although the magic power recovery potion was a low-tier spiritual medicine, the energy contained in it was not something that this small snake could digest. To put it in layman's terms, if it could not be absorbed, it was completely equivalent to poison. That energy would destroy it. Looking at the bottles scattered all over the ground, Lin Ming was very surprised. Those were dozens of bottles of magic power recovery potions, and all of them had been absorbed by this little guy? After a long time, Lin Ming finally accepted this fact. From the few points that puzzled him, this little snake was definitely not simple. Magical beast? That's not right. Even the pony with a trace of magical beast bloodline has changed its form, but this little snake looks very ordinary. Lin Ming squatted down to observe. The little snake also flicked its tongue at Lin Ming as if to greet him. The little snake had followed Lin Ming in the storage bag for an entire day, so it was already familiar with his aura. A moment later, the little snake was a little impatient, so it naturally entered the storage bag. It was as if it was going home. Confused, Lin Ming was ready to find a reliable person to ask. A teacher from the school? Lin Ming shook his head and dismissed this idea. This little snake was very special. He had to find someone he could trust for this matter. Winnie? He could trust her, but she was young and inexperienced. Ernest. Lin Ming quickly decided to let her take a look. After all, she was a tier 6 assassin and had been in the black market for so many years. She was knowledgeable. After packing everything up, Lin Ming took his storage bag and prepared to go to the black market. As soon as he arrived at the school gate, he heard many male students discussing animatedly. Damn, did you see that cold and gorgeous woman at the school gate? She is really beautiful. Indeed, that kind of cold temperament makes me afraid to get close. How about we go up and have a chat? Cold? I feel that her eyes can kill people. Hearing the discussions around him, Lin Ming thought to himself, this aura is something like Ernest's. Thinking of this, Lin Ming quickened his pace. It might be Ernest. After all, she had said that she would come to the school to inform him personally after confirming the time to go to the Magic Mountain Range. Very soon, Lin Ming walked out of the school gate and saw that Ernest was holding a big bag in her hand, standing in the same place coldly. Almost no one dared to come close to her. Seeing Lin Ming coming, a smile appeared on Ernest's cold face. She joked, "Your magic academy is full of little perverts. If this were the black market, I would gouge their eyes out. While saying that, Ernest was still doing the act of buttoning her eyes. No choice. Lin Ming shrugged. He knew that Ernest was forced by the prestige of the Magic Academy. Otherwise, with her personality, she would really be able to do such a thing. The actions of the two attracted the attention of many students who entered and left the school. Among them, there were some students who had heard the news and came specifically to see Ernest, with the incident where he defeated Melodion. Lin Ming was a well-known figure in the Green Magic Academy. When they saw the cold woman smiling at Lin Ming, many people felt that this scene was somewhat familiar. That's right, Winnie was the same. She treated her male classmates with extreme indifference. She treated Lin Ming in the opposite way. Could it be that Lin Ming was born different? Did he have a body that specialized in attracting women? I have to say, if I can be like Lin Ming, I would rather be called a half-baked for 3.5 years. 3 years? I'd be willing to do it for 10 years. I feel the same way. Look at Winnie and then look at this woman. Which one of them isn't a peerless beauty? No, I have to change my name. I'll be called Lin Ming from now on. Wake up, look at your pockmarked face. Do you have the right to be called Lin Ming? Under everyone's envious eyes, Lin Ming slowly walked with Ernest. A moment later, they arrived at the place where Lin Ming refined the spiritual herbs. Why are you so mysterious? Ernest asked in puzzlement. Just now, Lin Ming didn't explain anything. He just pulled Ernest to a place where there were few people. This place could be described as a place where there were few people. Could it be? Lin Ming didn't wait for Ernest's imagination to run wild. He took out the storage bag and released the small snake inside. Then, he motioned for Ernest to crouch down like him. Look, what's different about this snake? Ernest asked doubtfully, you brought me here to look at this? In her eyes, this was just an ordinary snake. If there was anything that didn't make sense. Only one thing, that it was small. This snake absorbed several bottles of my magic power recovery potions. And its body temperature is very hot. Lin Ming stared at the snake and explained. Although Ernest knew that Lin Ming wouldn't lie to her. But she still found it hard to believe that the little snake could absorb magic power recovery potions. Just as well, I brought you a lot of magic power recovery potions. This time, let me try, Ernest said in a little unconvinced way, and then she began to look for the magic power recovery potions. These magic power recovery potions were prepared for Lin Ming by herself. She came here today to inform Lin Ming to prepare as they were leaving in 3 days. So, she prepared the things that Lin Ming needed in advance. Soon, Ernest took out a bottle of magic power recovery potion, opened the bottle and put it on the ground. An unbelievable scene appeared. The small snake was greedily sucking the magic power recovery potion. Before Ernest could regain her senses, the small bottle of potion had disappeared. The little snake was also very active, rubbing against Lin Ming's finger. It seemed to be saying, more. How is this possible? I've never seen a little snake that can absorb magic power recovery potions. Could it be a magical beast? Ernest was extremely shocked. She knew that some magical beasts also absorbed magic power recovery potions, but those magical beasts were all existences with high-tier bloodlines. But this small snake, it looked so ordinary that it couldn't be any more ordinary. It seems that you don't know either. Lin Ming shrugged and shook his head helplessly. He put the small snake into the storage bag again. Hearing that, Ernest deliberately pretended to be enigmatic. This small snake is not ordinary. It's also a fortuitous encounter for you to meet it. Keep it for now. Wait for me to find a friend who understands magical beasts to take a look. Lin Ming nodded as well. He agreed with Ernest's view. Meeting was fortuitous, and this little fellow was indeed not ordinary. Oh, right, did you come to inform me of the departure time? Lin Ming pointed at the pile of things beside Ernest and asked. That's right, the time has been set. It's in 3 days. When the time comes, gather at the entrance of the black market. I'll tell you in advance that the target this time is 2 tier 5 magical beasts. You have to be prepared, Ernest said with a smile. Originally, the target this time was a tier 6 magical beast, but for the sake of Lin Ming's safety, she lowered the standard. Okay, see you in 3 days. Lin Ming replied somewhat excitedly. Ever since he saw the battle between the Sage Realm experts, he had been more and more eager to improve his strength. Although the strength of a tier 5 magical beast was powerful, He would definitely not let go of such an opportunity to gain experience. After sending Ernest away, Lin Ming returned to the school. He was preparing to learn a fire magic to prepare for entering the mountain range of magical beasts. Having many skills did not weigh him down. He was very clear about this principle. However, at this moment, the topic of Lin Ming in the academy erupted in a small area. Many people were discussing the relationship between Lin Ming and the cold and elegant woman. Lin Ming, who was walking on the road, was a little confused when he heard the familiar words. It was Winnie's voice. However, there was no big brother behind it. After a short conversation, Winnie looked at Lin Ming in surprise, and then her eyes became worried. She took out a piece of spiritual jade from her pocket and said, "If you want to go to the mountain range of magical beasts, bring this piece of spiritual jade with you. This is an amulet my grandfather gave me." Lin Ming gently stroked Winnie's hair and refused. "Don't worry, it's not as dangerous as you think. The mountain range of magical beasts is very dangerous. Quickly take this piece of spiritual jade with you. According to my grandfather, it can save a person's life in times of danger." Winnie continued to say, forcing the spiritual jade to Lin Ming. Seeing that Lin Ming did not accept it, she pouted her small mouth and said very stubbornly, "If you don't accept it, I will follow you to the mountain range of magical beasts." Lin Ming smiled helplessly and had no choice but to accept the spiritual jade. He knew that what Winnie said was true. If he really didn't accept it, she might really follow him to the mountain range of magical beasts. After sending Winnie away, a light purple spiritual jade appeared in Lin Ming's hand. From the moment he held it in his hand, he felt as if there was some kind of powerful power sealed inside. Could it be that there is some kind of magic sealed within? Lin Ming raised his eyebrows and guessed. After placing it on his waist, he no longer thought about it and walked towards the dormitory. Just as he reached the door, he saw a few of his roommates hurriedly walking out as if there was some joyous occasion. "Why are you all so happy in the middle of the night?" Lin Ming greeted the three of them. "Big brother, you came at the right time. Maud has learned the strongest tier 2 fire magic, fire wheel blade technique. He insisted on showing off to us. Let's go and take a look together." Beck and Riley quickly invited Lin Ming. They were all students of the fire element. Among them, the most talented one was Maud. In half a year, he had become a tier 2 mage. He even received special care from the fire element teacher. And some teachers even gave Maud special lessons after class. Maud smiled foolishly and rubbed his head. He said modestly, "Lin Ming, I practiced for a few months before I had some small success. If you have the time, help me with some pointers." Ever since Lin Ming defeated the strongest genius of the second grade, Maud was filled with incomparable admiration for Lin Ming. He had even set Lin Ming as his target. Fire wheel blade technique? Lin Ming thought carefully and knew that it was the strongest offensive skill among the tier 2 fire magics. However, under normal circumstances, the teacher would not let the students practice it. The fire wheel blade technique was extremely difficult to control. If one was not careful, it might harm the mage himself. "Let's go, I want to experience it too," Lin Ming said happily with a smile. Then, the four of them walked toward the practice hall while bragging. Lin Ming is now at tier 3. That's natural, otherwise, how could he defeat the second-year genius? Don't you see how hard Lin Ming usually works? Soon, the four of them arrived at the practice hall happily. There was an extremely large empty space in the hall, separated by many magic energy barriers. This was also to prevent students from hurting others when they practiced. Even at night, there were still hundreds of students who were training hard inside. After a while, there will be a grade examination. No one wanted to be a failure at that time. Looking at the various kinds of magic energy overflowing around, the corners of Lin Ming's eyes slightly moved. It had been 2 years since he had entered this place. Remembering the various derisive and cold remarks in the practice hall at that time, Lin Ming shook his head helplessly. After that, the four of them found an empty space. "This fire wheel blade technique is very dangerous. You guys have to be careful when I cast it." Maud frowned and said seriously. He was not joking, even though he had trained for more than half a year. He did not have much confidence. "All right, let's begin. I'm praising you, but you aren't humble?" Beck and Riley teased. But the two did not dare to be careless and became especially vigilant. Very soon, Maud muttered a magic incantation, and flames rose from his hands. They turned into 4 rapidly rotating rings of fire. Each ring of fire had a diameter of 1 meter, and emitted a powerful force. It was extremely terrifying. This scene also attracted many students in the hall. They all stopped their cultivation and looked at it. They couldn't help but click their tongues in praise. That's the strongest 2nd grade fire element magic. Fire wheel blade technique. My god, he can actually cast 4 of them. He's really a genius. Maud, the user is Maud, so it's him, although he's a first-year student. His strength makes many second-year students blush with shame. Just as everyone was smacking their tongues in praise, Maud shouted coldly. He controlled the 4 fiery wheel blades to blast at the energy barrier. In an instant, 4 deafening sounds spread throughout the entire practice hall. Cracks spread across the energy barrier. A moment later, although the fire wheel blade technique stopped, it left an indelible shock in everyone's hearts. Beck and Riley were dumbstruck. They were extremely shocked, although they had heard of the might of the fire wheel blade technique. They couldn't help but be shocked when they saw it with their own eyes. You'd, how can this be called unfamiliarity? I'm afraid that no one in the same year can compare to you. Hearing Beck and Riley's praise, Maud panted heavily, wiped the sweat on his forehead, and smiled. This is the result of half a year of training. Only then can it be considered as preliminary mastery. Preliminary mastery? Beck and Riley were extremely shocked. The onlookers were the same. They did not dare to imagine how powerful the fire wheel blade technique was. As expected of the strongest spell among Tier 2 magics, I wonder how terrifying it will be when it's fully mastered. 8 fire wheels? Don't think about it. The most difficult part of this spell is the control of the fire wheels. Who can control 8 fire wheels at the same time? Many people began to exclaim in admiration. Some people were even very envious of Maud's talent. Condensing 4 fire wheels was not difficult, but to control it. Not only did it require a large amount of magic power, but it was also the biggest test. Maud looked at Lin Ming and said seriously, Lin Ming, why don't you try it too? Condensing this spell is not difficult, but it consumes a lot of magic power. Then, he told Lin Ming the magic spell in a faint voice. It also made Beck and Riley envious. They knew that Maud didn't tell them for safety reasons. For now, the 2 of them were not strong enough to control. It might bring danger. Divide the power of the flame, divide the mind. Rotate at speed, shape the blade? Lin Ming murmured. Sure enough, the name of the fire wheel blade technique appeared on the panel in his mind. Tier 2 magic? Lin Ming thought about it carefully. The biggest difficulty of the fire wheel blade technique was to use the magic power to control them, but with the system in hand, he only needed to condense a spell, and it didn't cost any magic power to control it. Then, Lin Ming decisively put his attention on the plus sign on it. Ding, your fire wheel blade technique proficiency has been increased. Current level is beginner, level 1. Ding, your fire wheel blade technique proficiency has been increased. Current level is beginner, level 2. After 2 consecutive plus points, Lin Ming began to mobilize the magic power in his body. Waves of scorching flames burst out from his hands. In an instant, 5 fire wheels condensed in the air, and those fire wheels were even more dazzling than Maud's. The onlookers took a closer look and were extremely shocked. He's actually more powerful than Maud. It seems to be Lin Ming. That person is Lin Ming. Why is it him again? He probably can't control the technique. That magic is a great test of control. Indeed, condensing is simple while controlling is very difficult. After many people found out that it was Lin Ming, they were filled with doubt and disdain. During this period of time, Lin Ming had stolen too many of their shares, causing many people to be envious to the point of hatred. When Maud heard the doubts around him, he retorted angrily. Condensing is simple? Let me see you condense one. He had cultivated for half a year and was very clear about the difficulty. Just condensing 4 firewheel blades had taken him a month. Lin Ming had just learned it. Maud stared at the firewheels in the sky in shock. Those 5 rapidly spinning firewheels. The power contained in each of them was even more terrifying than his own. Lin Ming felt that the magic power consumption in his body was not very large. During the recent alchemy process, his magic power had been overdrawn and replenished again and again, causing his magic power to increase by a lot. Then, he pressed the plus sign twice. A mechanical voice sounded in his mind. Ding, your fire wheel blade technique proficiency has increased. Current level is Master, Level 2. Ding, your fire wheel blade technique proficiency has increased. Current level is Master, Level 4. Just as the voice fell, the corner of Lin Ming's mouth was muttering a magic incantation. In the next moment, 13 flames shot out from his palm and twisted in the air. At an extremely fast speed, they turned into fire wheels. 16, 17, 18. 18 fire wheels? How is that possible? Maud exclaimed in disbelief. He stood rooted to the ground, not knowing what to do. He was known as a fire element genius, let alone controlling. Just condensing 8 wheels was already his limit. But Lin Ming had condensed 18 wheels, and he was able to control them with ease. This made him extremely shocked. Beck and Riley were also in disbelief, as their eyes turned white from shock. 18 fire wheels, as expected of Lin Ming. The two of them cried out in shock while trembling. Those who were originally belittling Lin Ming were even more shocked. All of them had expressions of disbelief on their faces. How is this possible? Even a Tier 3 mage wouldn't be able to maintain 18 fire wheels. That fire wheel consumes a lot of energy. How did Lin Ming do it? Everyone exclaimed in shock. They silently counted how many seconds Lin Ming could last. The fire wheels in the air showed no sign of weakening, like a formation hovering around Lin Ming, maintaining the fire wheels, although it did not consume any magic power. Could be able to control 18 fire wheels at the same time. For Lin Ming was still a challenge. That's why Lin Ming closed his eyes, feeling the existence of the 18 fire wheels. Time was of the essence. Everyone stared at the motionless Lin Ming. Even Bond, the person in charge of the practice hall, frowned and looked at Lin Ming in shock. Who was in the midst of the 18 fire wheels? Bond was a Tier 5 mage. He was extremely clear about the consumption of the fire wheel blade technique. The youth below, with the strength of a Tier 2 mage, could actually maintain 18 fire wheels for 100 seconds. The most terrifying thing was that the fire wheels in the 100 seconds didn't weaken at all. Lin Ming, isn't he just half-baked? But why is the talent he displayed now so terrifying? Bond was very surprised. He had been managing the magic practice hall for decades. 2 years ago, the small flame Lin Ming condensed was still fresh in his memory. But the talent he displayed now was the most terrifying he had ever seen. He even felt that Lin Ming had the talent to become a Sage Realm mage. As time goes by, in all the eyes of horror, Lin Ming moved. He controlled the 18 fire wheels and smashed towards the energy shield ruthlessly. All of a sudden, boom, 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 groups of terrifying fireballs bombarded the energy shield. Boom, boom, boom. That sound, again and again, impacted on the hearts of the people. A moment later, the flames dispersed and everyone's eyes focused on the energy shield. During the bombardment just now, many people saw the energy shield shattered. 3 layers. The energy shield actually shattered 3 layers. Someone shouted loudly. It made everyone's eyes focus on it. In the next moment, everyone was dumbfounded. How is this possible? Bond looked at the shattered energy shield in disbelief. As the person in charge of the training hall, he was very clear about the power of the energy shield. It was a type of Tier 4 magic array. It was constructed with a lot of energy crystals. Even if it had been operating for several years, the strength of the energy shield was not something that ordinary magic could shatter. And Lin Ming had actually shattered 3 layers. Phew. Lin Ming let out a deep breath, and beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. The 18 fire wheels just now were the limit for him. Seeing this, Beck, Riley, and Maud came back to their senses and hurriedly helped Lin Ming up. Lin Ming, some 18 wheels, even if I cultivate for another 2 years, I probably won't be able to reach it. Stop talking, I think Lin Ming is too tired to speak. Send him back as soon as possible. The 3 people didn't care whether Lin Ming could speak or not. They directly lifted Lin Ming up. In their opinion, just those 18 fire wheels alone could empty a person, let alone maintain it for such a long time. Put me down, I am fine, Lin Ming said helplessly, and then walked out under the incredulous gazes of all the magic students present. Left behind, Beck and the other 2 looked at each other in shock. Green Magic Academy. The principal's office. Is what you said true? A Tier 2 mage casted 18 fire wheels? The stern-faced Principal Duru suddenly stood up. I was standing right next to him at that time. It's absolutely true. His name is Lin Ming, Bond said very seriously. After a short exchange of words, Duru's eyes were filled with joy. He said happily, "It seems that in this year's Magic Academy competition, our Green Magic Academy is no longer at the bottom of the dukedom." Ha ha ha, the entire office building was filled with laughter. That had not been heard for several years.